met ya, I couldn't wait to see ya. But the truth, I got some kind of amnesia. You crept up on me, said you thought of me fondly. And finally, since we let go, you're ready to say hello. What did you hope to see coming to this place? Said you'd never call up, now you're all up in my face, in my face, in my face, in my face. You're like a time traveler, you like to go backwards. You're like a time traveler, running from the future. Time traveler, time traveler. This area you made restricted off limits. Thought I would miss it before I ditched it, dismissed it. Yeah, I was timely, but I fall out for you, honey. And after 3 years of living, you're asking to go back in. What did you hope to see coming back to me? Are you satisfied now? Could you die now? Happily, 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 happily. You like a time traveler, you like to go backwards. You like a time traveler, running from the future. Running from the future. Time traveler.
I'm not ready to go yet, okay? I'm not ready. You gotta wait. I got shit to do. I'm in the middle of something, all right? Just hold on.
Watch your mouth or don't come in here.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, people, come on, we're adults here.
You know what?
Be adults.
What is the point?
Yeah, we're adults here. I got a fucking Burger King fucking thing on my head. We're all fucking adults here, guys. People in my chat, 2 words. What are they? 2 words. Let me see the chat flood. Let me see the chat flood. 2 words. Okay, next caller. Please. Let's get into the meat and potatoes, which translate in American to dick and balls. I got flip flops. These are my flip flops. Yeah, I really like my flip flops because I can put them on. Because look, watch me put them on. I can put them on all by myself. Watch me put them on. Look, are you watching? Look, these are my flip flops.
Thanksgiving Day. I remember it clearly. It was Thanksgiving Day. I was inserting myself in somebody else's fucking business as a cash grab, and you know.
This channel is harsh reality.
Karen jak se jodió la sucia vida. Amen.
This is Jonathan Lee Riches. I have cheeseburgers. I'm gonna put cheese on them. I'm gonna make sure that I have my hamburgers because I'm a big boy now and I can make the hamburgers. My mom lets me use the stove now.
And I'm just like, wow, I like receipts, and they brought receipts. Like they had evidence to back up everything they said, and I'm like, okay, well, there's got to be another side to this, right? Like this can't. No, this is too fantastic.
Yeah, because you're not going to just jump to the conclusion that there's a conspiracy amongst cops to cover up a murder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean cops and just like soccer moms and shit. Like that's what made it even crazier. Like,
yeah, get it, Betty. Yeah,
did you have a close relationship with your mom?
Get it, Betty.
Oh, of course, I still do.
Yeah.
My older sister was kind of sad. She was more of the prissy girl that likes going.
That is the best shit fucking
shopping
ever.
for dresses with mommy. I was the tomboy that liked playing with the feet.
Shout out to Cherry for just being easily the most faithful and loyal supporter that I've ever had, man. That someone could have that tenacity with loyalty. And I'm really blessed to have someone like Cherry be part of this channel and in my life. So it means a lot. And yes, I named him after Mr. T and Rocky. Say, woman. Say, woman. Say, woman. Since your old man ain't got no heart, why don't you come down to my apartment tonight and I'll show you a real man. Oh my God, I'm so in love with this little dude. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. I love you guys very, 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 very much. And we will do this again very soon, my friends. Oh, say bye. Say bye. Oh, I love you too. Give me a kiss. Oh, I love you. Bye, guys. Woo! Good evening, people. Oh my goodness. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's having a great extended 4th of July weekend. It is now Saturday the 6th. And I'm glad to be hanging out here with everybody. There's no place that I'd rather be right now. I did just realize though, I did just realize that Mazza Media is going to be going live in like an hour. And if you guys haven't checked him out, I mean, I'll probably still be live, but honestly, guys, I'm just going to be going over some videos and shit and talking shit just because I wanted to hang out with you guys on Saturday afternoon. That's all I wanted to do. Honestly, if I knew Mazza was going live, I would have probably just watched him. I'd almost rather watch him than be live. But but if you haven't checked him out, make sure you do. And then you can come back and catch the replay. No hard feelings. That's what the replay's for. It's cool. It's super fine. It's super fun to catch things on the replay because you can rewind and speed things up and all that kind of stuff. But Mazza's like fantastic. Mazza's become one of my favorite channels, if I'm being totally honest. So at the very least, make sure to check him out. Even if you choose to be here, you're of course more than welcome. But at the very least, check him out and catch the replay on him. But I recommend catching the replay here, honestly. And I think Turtle Boy is going live tonight, the usual Saturday at 9, which I'm also looking forward to. And look who decided to grace us with her presence today. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Hi, Cherry. So yeah, I like to give Cherry a hard time. Not like she ever gives me a hard time or anything. No, nothing like that. But yeah. I someone mentioned it in my chat the other day. That Turtle Boy's mom passed. And I didn't think much of it when people mentioned, like when one person mentioned something in my chat. I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to it right off the bat, but after seeing some of the stuff that I saw today, it's obvious that it's true. And of course, my condolences to Aiden and his loved ones. But I saw stuff today that I was just like, this can't be real. Like, nobody's this heartless. Like fucking nobody's this heartless. I couldn't even fucking believe it. And let me go ahead and pull up what I'm talking about here. And I've never even had any like back and forth engagement with this person. I've mentioned her a couple of times, but I've never actually really engaged. And we're gonna just check out her page a little bit here. And yeah, it's pretty frustrating. It's pretty frustrating to see stuff like this. But
So this is Kate Peters' Twitter, and she goes by Masshole Mafia. And this is the first message that's pinned here. We're just gonna go down some of her shit here. And so this one says this one is pinned and it's from June 27th. So whichever one's pinned is going to show up at the top. And it says, actually, this is a message for all the Free Karen Reed dregs and the turtle cultists. You make me relevant and you hang on my every word, compelled to engage with me. I do not reciprocate. My dyslexic ass, excuse me. I do not reciprocate those feelings. You can't make one salient point that stands up to any scrutiny. That's why you resort to Kate's a terrible person. I don't dispute that, but being smarter than all of you is some comfort at least. Wow. Oh my God. In honor of Cherry's absence, well, we know Cherry's not abstinent. In honor of her absence, well, it's her birthday, so
I think we got a super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. Super chat. Super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. I think we got a super chat.
Maniacal Miss, thank you. Hey, Will, Cherry, and all you wonderful people in chat. This Brit girl catching alive. 2999999999999. Okay, thank you, Maniacal Miss. I appreciate it. So yeah, this is just okay. And then she shows a screenshot here. It's okay to be mad at the fact that no normal person in their right mind would give you the time of day. Never mind the energy to even love or care about you. I mean, what is there to love? Pushing 40 and acting 12 is maturity. We all know that's why you're angry in life. And then like she highlights her own shit here, which is very telling. Because again, listen, people, I'm not a mental health professional. You know what I mean? I'm not a mental health professional. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a cop. I have no experience in any of these fields. And but I've been on this fucking rock for pushing half a century, God willing. That I see a half a century on this rock. And I know crazy. I know fucked up, bad, shitty people, and I know crazy. When it comes to this person, from what I've seen so far, check and check. Sometimes it's one or the other. Sometimes one is an excuse for the other. But sometimes there's just both. And I've seen it before. And it's this is someone who suffers from a chronic case of guanosis, and there is no cure. There's nothing you can do about it. This is someone who's never going to embrace a concept such as self-awareness. This is someone who's never going to embrace a concept such as accountability. This is just not it's not, some people just aren't capable of it. And these are symptoms of chronic guanosis. And if you're curious about what guanosis is, it's in the Urban Dictionary. I entered it in the Urban Dictionary years ago in regards to someone else in my life that was very similar. But it's it's a medical term. Okay. I'm not a doctor like Turtle Boy, mind you, but
I have coined this medical term, regardless of the fact. Now, she says, yeah, y'all give me the time of day by commenting on my shit. I never look at or comment on any of yours. So either you're not normal people or the point is moot. Either way, you can't stay on point when even the slightest scrutiny is applied to your insane conspiracy theories and misstatement of the facts. They crumble immediately under the weight of the evidence. See, this is a really, really, really crazy example of projecting. This is a toxic level of projection, which is really fascinating to see. An absolutely toxic level of perfection of projection. And hold on, I'm just looking at. I'm just scrolling through this shit. Oh my god, man. So yeah, like if I wasn't doing this, like basically if I wasn't like high as shit, I'd be watching a movie, but instead I'm high as shit and I'm here hanging out with you guys and looking at Twitter insanity. Which is fucking fantastic. It's great. I can't think of a better way to spend my afternoon. But that's just great. Sometimes I hate Twitter, but sometimes I love it. The simplicity of that is, I mean, that's art. That's fucking art, dude. Like the simplicity of that is just so beautiful. It really is. It, I just can't get over it. The simplicity in that is just fantastic. It's not vulgar in any way, shape, or form, but it speaks volumes. It's great. Now I don't know what that's about. Oh, this is all from that post. Okay. Yeah, actually, it's good to look at the comments. Let's do that because I have to laugh at this shit. Let's see. I love how the turtle cultists think that they're the normal ones. You know, outside of the courthouse in pink clothes and pom-poms with an animal perched on their shoulder, just shittered drunk by 11 a.m., which just isn't true. You know, normal stuff. Like this stuff that's not even true. Um I'm only laughing at it because of the absurdity, you know? And it's hilarious how you and Kev constantly tell everyone how smart you are. It really is. It really is. It's like what they always do. We are not lemmings. I think Boston Defender being Yannetti and company said it all by debunking every single one of the Commonwealth's claims. Absolutely true. Oh wait, Mike DB up in this chat. So let's see what he posted here. This is you, Kate Bristol. This you, Kate Bristol, or a different one idolizing Turtle Boy. Bristol, how did you come to be so invested in the passionate about Turtle Boy? I'm paraphrasing at this point, but boy, what a loaded question that is. I try not to talk about myself too much while I'm on this crazy journey. I was blessed to be swept up in over a year ago. Jesus Christ, that's boring. Uh Expected message from one of the longtime idols, one of the only Clarence Woods Emerson. Your comments make me laugh. It said, would you ever try blogging? Yeah, I just don't know the context behind that. I'm guessing a lot of this stuff gets like extracted or screenshot from Facebook groups, which I'm just not in or see. I'm in one group, but the thing is I'm not because my Facebook isn't even active anymore. And then like I guess yeah, this is that Lindsay chick. And
I love it, dude. Like, I love the gifts, bro. Like, Boston Mike kills me because, like, 80% of Boston Mike's gifts make no sense to me at all. I don't understand their context, but I love them anyway. Um, everyone's just laughing at her absurdity, which I find hilarious. Everyone's just laughing at her absurdity. What is this? Yeah, that's my number, whatever. Okay. Oh wait, yeah, hold on. There's one thing I want to address more importantly before I get to like the Courts TV Vinny stuff. Like, so she posts this: the Free Karen Reed people mass reported my posts using Turtle Boy's tactics. Please don't do that. I work hard to collect your hypocritical faux outrage in one neat archive. She must feel so smart using the word faux. Apparently what I said is horrifying, but what he says about multiple people's deaths are fine. So all right, let's go over that. I like to be fair.
Fuck you, Stephanie Rizzitano. I hope you burn in hell, you useless, stupid cunt. I fucking hate you. I fucking hate you with every ounce of my being. You're trash. Leanne Rizzitano, trash. You are the trashiest fucking family. And the only good part about John not being alive is he doesn't have to be around any of you useless maggots for a second more. Fuck you. Fuck your high horse. Burn in hell. That's what I think of you. Anyway, this is what
Grant's a piece of shit. Like this whole let's get Grant, buy Grant food. Nah, Grant should die in a hole. Like Grant is a fucking useless maggot, waste of space. He's like Brian Riccio. Like the world is a better place without him. Like we all agree. Like the best thing Brian Riccio ever did was die. I mean that's just straight up. Nobody can deny that. Like Brian Riccio spent his entire existence. I'm with Kirk Minahan. Spent his entire existence just being useless. Not just useless, like horrible. And does anyone miss him? Did he even have a fucking funeral? Did anybody go to it? Like, no, nobody did. Because he's fucking useless. And like it's the same with Grant. It's the same fucking thing. He's the new Brian Riccio. And I'm sorry if that offends you. I actually am not sorry at all. I hope it offends you. Okay. Because some people, the world is a better place without. Brian Riccio is one of them. And when Grant dies, it will be the same way. Like, the world will be a much better place without Grant. That's just a fact, not opinion. And go fuck yourself if you don't like it. So there.
Okay, so that was her justification for posting this. Okay. And when I saw this, I was like, who in the fuck? Now, yeah, was I sitting there laughing at the things Turtle Boy was saying? Totally. I was. But the problem is that, first of all, I don't know who he's talking about. And I don't really, when it comes to somebody having a personal opinion about another human being based on their interactions with them, they have every right to feel that way. I don't wish death on anyone, but I don't think that Turtle Boy literally wishes death on people. Like, he's one of those people who says things that are for the sake of expressing his emphasis on how strongly he feels about something by exaggerating things in a figurative way.
I don't think that that's abnormal. I do that. A lot of people do that. Like when it's crazy because now like you can't tell someone kill yourself anymore in a sarcastic manner. Like nobody who says, "Oh, you know what? Fuck you. You're a piece of shit. Kill yourself." Nobody fucking means that shit when they say it, but you can't say it anymore. You can't say it anymore. Because someone might take it literally, and you can't have that, you know, you can't have that out there in the universe apparently, because if someone ends up killing themselves, then they may have taken that literally, and so you can't say that shit anymore. Okay, fine. I don't really care if someone were to tell me that. I'm not going to fucking go all over the internet and go, "Oh my god, that person told me to unalive myself for clicks and views. That person told me to K myself." Uh uh I'm not one of those people. I see people doing that and I'm just like, dude, fucking grow up. Stop it. Um so I, like I have a history with suicidal thoughts, but nobody telling me that in a sarcastic manner is going to make me go and do something like that. If it were to happen, which it's never going to, I'm long past that, so don't worry. But if it were ever going to, it would be due to my depression. That's it. It would be due to my clinical depression. It would not be because some dickhead couldn't fucking think of a way to insult me and said, "Kill yourself." That would not be the reason why I go. I promise. So my loved ones won't get to sue you for saying that if I actually do. Okay? So rest easy. I don't take things like that personally, but some people do. So you can't really say that. Some people are sensitive to it. Fine. Okay. Me personally, I'm not. But um that was along the lines of that was coming from the same place, I believe. Turtle Boy saying that was coming from basically that same place of just sarcastically saying something that is so shocking that makes people go, "Oh shit." He's on a YouTube channel. There were thousands of people watching him and he was entertaining them. This is absolutely what's to be expected, you know? Now some might say, "Oh, a lot of people have YouTube channels, Will, and they don't do that." Well, and those people who are watching him probably don't watch those YouTube channels because they think they're boring. Now, that's for them. Other people, it's great. But for this channel, if you don't like it, don't fucking watch it. Just like his audience isn't going to go watch some boring fucking channel. Live and let live. It's all good. And quit blaming other people's words for your bullshit. But here's the thing, though, is there's things that are said for the sake of comedy and entertainment, and then there are things that are said out of pure hatred. And although she has the right, in my opinion, the First Amendment right to post something this disgusting, it still tells a lot about her. It still says a lot. And it also makes me suspect other things too, which I'll get to. But let me go ahead and read this. So apparently, before I read it, let me give you guys some context. Apparently, Aiden's mom recently passed. I don't know the circumstances of it. All I know is that I can't imagine what he's going through right now, and I wish him all the best. And that's it. I don't know any other details other than that. Now, this says in response to that news, the world is a better place without Turtle Boy's mother. Thank God she is dead. I'm hearing that after using her to try to get out of jail, it failed because no one cares
what that useless, decrepit piece of shit had to say about her useless son. That turtle boy killed her with all the stress and shame he caused her. This is very difficult to even read out loud, if I'm being totally honest. First good thing he's ever done, in my opinion. Brian Riccio at least had family who cared, not so much for Mannish Mary. Wow. So there's a big difference between the things that Turtle Boy was saying and the things that she just said here. First of all, this isn't on a YouTube channel. This is just blasting on Twitter, nasty, disgusting shit. Really, really, really hateful. That's a level of hatred that it's not funny. Like I can't imagine someone reading that and going, you know, like what Turtle Boy was saying, like that person, whoever he's talking about, having gotten to know most of the people here, if I had to guess, I would say that this person probably did some horrible, disgusting shit, who Turtle Boy was referring to in those videos that she clipped, in order to justify this post. Because she's obviously, the criticism was getting to her. And you could tell she put the extra effort. Yeah, Cherry, I'm with you, but I mean, you know, I that's one thing about Cherry and I is she is my right hand here on this channel. But we often disagree. We disagree on certain social issues sometimes. And this is one of those things that we would disagree on, because I don't think that both are that bad. I think that one is way worse than the other. Because there's a context and there's a feeling. First of all, Turtle Boy's mother, as far as I know, never did anything to anybody. I mean, I as far as I know, she's someone who is completely a bystander in all of this. So I mean, that's just an opportunity that she seems to have took to take a horrible, just low blow at somebody. To really dig deep while someone is already hurting. There's a big difference between this and what she's trying to use to justify this. I not much appalls me when I read it or hear it, you know, not much. I'm not easily offended, and I'm not easily disgusted. I'm not easily shocked. But all of those things are feelings I'm feeling like right here when I read that. And what it really is I've said I've been on this rock for long enough to where this is someone who really feels this shit, you know, really, really does, really has this kind of level of contempt for someone else. And you could tell that she put some real thought into it. She consciously made the decision to pick up her phone or sit behind her laptop, most likely her phone, and oh, I heard Turtle Boy's mom is dead, so here's what I'm going to do. And then pick up her phone and then tweet, oh no, let me put it this way. Let me use, you know, this word instead of that word. Blah, 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 blah.
there's a real conscious effort that took place to write that really, really hate-filled post. And this is not, reading that is not, I'm not seeing someone who's, again, just trying to be funny and just trying to entertain an audience. I'm seeing someone who this, I'm getting Letitia Stout vibes. Um, I I'm getting that the same vibe I got from her. She actually kind of looks like her too. It's really fucked up. Right. Cherry, tell me I'm fucking crazy, right? Cherry totally knows what I'm talking about. Like, she even kind of looks like her too. I just I don't think that she's gone over that edge, but I'm telling you, I think that she's very capable of it, which brings me to my next point. Because I didn't think it was fair. I honestly didn't think that it was fair for anyone other than Turtle Boy, who has a history with this person, to make the assumption that she was responsible for tying a dead turtle to a hand railing at Turtle Boy's parents' house. I thought that that was one of the sickest, most disgusting things that anybody could do. But if I had to speculate as to who do I know that might do that, I'm going to go with the person who leaves the biggest clue. And I'm talking about this is my biggest clue. I can't see. I followed a lot of crime cases. I'm not a detective. You know what I mean? But if I were, a gambling man, my money would be on her being absolutely responsible for that, or at least someone who did it to impress her. But my money would be on her being the mastermind behind that, because I can't think of anyone. I can't think of anyone capable of doing that. And I can't think of anyone capable of writing someone like this about their innocent mother passing. I can't. And the purpose of it, this is why it's really, really sick. Okay. The purpose of it isn't to get under Turtle Boy's skin. I mean, maybe to some degree it is. The purpose of it is in part maybe to get under Turtle Boy's skin, to get him to react, violate his bail, do something crazy. That would be one of the objectives I would definitely speculate. But the real purpose of this, I believe, wait, she did it to Chile? Who's Chile? I mean, listen, look, I'm the kind of guy that will, you say something stupid, I'll be like, you're fuck your mother, like I've always done that. It doesn't literally mean fuck your mother. You know what I mean? Like I it's just something I've always I've always heard growing up, and I've always said growing up. And I never grew out of it. Maybe that's a character flaw, whatever. But this is just as like, I can't imagine getting to a point where I feel the need to write something that disgusting. Now, I feel like there's a purpose behind
this. And it's of a much deeper, sicker, it comes from a much deeper and sicker place. I mean, yeah, we say the R word here, you know, like I'll call somebody retarded, but the thing is I'll never call somebody with an actual an actual mental health disorder, or you know, or yeah, they may have one that I don't know about, but someone with an actual like uh in intellectual impairment, put it that way. Someone with a genuine intellectual impairment, I'm not going to call them retarded. That's fucked up. That's dismissive. Now, someone who is willfully ignorant and chooses to be ignorant, like this woman here, I will happily call a fucking retard. I have no problem calling someone like this a fucking retard, because she's clearly willfully ignorant, and she's clearly again someone who will not take any accountability for their actions, who will just do things. See, because I find the effort behind here extremely telling and extremely, you know, it's such a giveaway. The effort that she put back here just says how much hatred she's filled with. This isn't about somebody who cares about. Someone who capable of writing something like this is incapable of caring about the memory of a dead Boston police officer who she didn't even know. Do you understand what I mean? This someone who's capable of this level of a lack of empathy, cannot actually care about justice for a stranger, whether they be a Boston police officer, whether they be a surgeon, whether they be a school bus driver, whether they be, uh, a janitor somewhere. This is just, she's not capable of it. This is not someone who's capable of any type of empathy whatsoever. This is a bad person. This is a bad person. I don't think that she's ever really done anything to truly help anyone for the reasons of helping them. I don't think that she's ever done that. Haley Hopes, thank you. What's really scary to me is that these are the people that Paul was encouraging in his interview. Pair these types of behaviors with the backing of DA, and it's a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. Agreed. That's another point I was getting at. That's another point I was getting at is this should be very telling as well of the type of people who are so convinced that Karen Read is guilty. This is the person who is the most active behind the scenes in the Karen Read is guilty movement that takes place. And in the minority group of people who are actually dead set on the idea of Karen Read being guilty, she's the mouthpiece. She's the mover and shaker. She's the one who's doing everything. This is someone who I believe is I believe that Twattendoffer actually looks up to. This is someone who I believe actually has Twattendoffer behind the scenes kissing her ass. That's what I think is going on with this person. This is someone who does not know what it's like to mourn someone truly.
Not truly. If I had to guess, someone who's capable of making a post like this so publicly is the kind of person that goes to a funeral. Are you guys with me yet? You guys still with me? You guys know where I'm going? The kind of person who goes to a funeral and grief competes. Okay, stay with me. This is why I actively try to avoid funerals, because there's always someone like this, not to this level, but someone who does this that I'm talking about. And I promise you, this person right here, if anyone does what I'm talking about, it's this person. Someone who's not capable of actual grief, but what they do is they go to a funeral or they go to a wake and they go over the top. They cause a scene. They make the attention all on them. The grief, your grief can't touch mine. There's no way that you're grieving more than I am. So there's this weird, almost silent competition for who's grieving more. And it's disgusting. It's fucking gross. And it makes me infuriated when I would see loved ones doing this. I couldn't fucking stand it. And I guarantee you that this is a grief competitor. Guarantee you. Somehow or another, they manage to draw all the attention on themselves. That's that one person when you see in the movies that's going, oh my God. But they don't always do it that way. That method is played out. That method is played out. The tried and true method is to wait for someone to say the wrong thing to them, and then they get to act offended and then storm out of the room and go outside so that people will follow them and comfort them. Oh, it's okay. That's what happens. They're sitting there stuffing their face with fucking pastelitos and cake and shit, fucking bizcocho, and they're like, what do you mean by that? What? How dare you? Oh, and then they storm out, and then 3 or 4 people follow and go, oh my God. We know this is hard on everybody, but it's hardest on you. I can only imagine. Oh. You can always spot these people. Next time you go to a funeral, see which one you can spot, who's the most likely. Because even if they manage to keep it, sometimes there's always that person, but they manage to keep it to but when you go to a funeral, God forbid you lose a loved one, but if you go to a funeral and you happen to just make that observation to keep your mind off the grief, try to figure out which family member it's going to be, because I bet you got one. I bet you fucking got one. And she's the one in that family. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. I'm willing to bet money on it that she's the one in that family. Totally incapable of considering everyone else's feelings who are grieving and processing their loss. Totally incapable of that. But I'll bet you anything. Yeah. She's the one in her family that's doing that shit. Right. Sometimes it's a bunch of people. Like I said, it's the competition. It's the decathlon of grief. I can't stand that shit. It drives me fucking nuts. People who barely talk to the motherfucker, talk shit about the person, like crazy, talk shit, and then a lot of times this is the reason why they do it too.
right? This is the reason why they do it, because they know and they're afraid. They're scared that everyone is looking at them now like the person who always talks shit about the person the funeral's for, right? So they're like, okay, how do I not get people to look at me like the one who always talks shit about this person? Well, I'll pretend like I'm grieving more than everybody else. And then this way they don't think about that. And they just think about how much I'm grieving. You know what I mean? Like, I'm telling you, that's the one in her family who does that shit. You all know exactly what I'm talking about. Little Irish Nose. You all know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Every single one of you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. And I'm trying to understand, like, why in the world anybody, what does it say? Just like just like Haley Hopes indicated, that what's really disturbing is how she is the mover and shaker behind the scenes as far as PR for the Commonwealth. That's who it is. Like, Jen McCabe can't. I mean, what does that say about Jen McCabe? If her and Jen McCabe are buddy buddy, what does that say about Jen McCabe? Does that not solidify? Does that not solidify what we saw in court? Because there's always that little aspect in your mind, you know, you're watching Jen McCabe in court, and that little aspect in your mind, if you want to be fair, is, well, you know what? I've never spent any time with this person. Do I really know that she's sitting up there lying? Do I really know that she's as bad of a person? You know? But then you put things together. Like the fact that, you know, she deleted everything on her phone, because why else? Who the fuck else would do that? And she hangs around this person, and they're on a constant quest to shut Turtle Boy down. They're on a constant quest to shut Turtle Boy down. I mean, it's really, really, really bizarre, man. It's really bizarre. And for her to like try to justify it by playing that footage of Turtle Boy just being very facetious, you know, very facetious. I mean, I don't fucking wish death on anyone, dude, but I've said shit just for the sake of being fucking shockingly funny, you know? Like, I do it to Cherry all the time. Like, if you guys heard the shit that I say just to fuck with Cherry, like, if you guys heard the shit that I say just to fuck with her, just to make her cringe, like, it would blow your mind. That shit ever became public. And it's all jokes. She knows I don't feel that way. You know what I mean? But she'll sit there and go, oh my God. You know? Like, and it's just to fucking shock her. That it's the whole point is to troll her and shock her. I mean, but this is not that. This is someone who's literally just fixated on being destructive. And then if I'm looking at
someone capable of hanging a turtle on the very property of the person who wrote this, who else am I going to think did that? You have this might as well be a confession. This is the irony in this. Layla Rose Rittenberg, thank you, Charlie, your sister. This is all I can do. Thanks for helping Karen Turtle and us through this. Oh man, that's more than generous. I'm just glad that you're here. Thanks for watching. Seriously, I appreciate it. Now let's talk about this for a second, because there's an irony here that's really I find very entertaining. There's an irony here. So Karen Reed is supposedly guilty because she had motive, right? Karen Reed had motive to kill John O'Keefe, and her motive was that she got upset because she thought she saw him kissing someone in Aruba. Then we find out that Karen Reed apologized and offered to pay for the person's cabin or room for the rest of the trip to make up to them, because she felt stupid for making this accusation. Okay? And she also supposedly had motive because she yelled, "I hate you," and called John a pervert. Right? Said, "I hate you, you're a pervert." Okay. So now, although I don't have proof that Kate Peter is responsible for hanging this dead turtle at Aiden's parents' home, although I don't have proof, by the Commonwealth standards, I do. I mean, let's face it, by Kate Peter's own standards, I have the proof. To me, this is damning evidence. To me, this is someone who just after this takes place, where this dead turtle is hanging from Aiden's mother's property, Aiden's mother passes very soon after this. And then she writes this. Which I find very interesting. And I'm going to read it one more time just so you guys feel the context that I'm feeling right now. So, and I'm going to move on from this very soon, but I'm sorry, I just have a lot of thoughts on this. So, timeline of events. Turtle gets hung right after Karen Reed, her trial is declared a mistrial. And a turtle gets hung, an actual turtle, dead turtle, gets hung by its neck at the property of Aiden's parents' home. Just a couple of days after, Aiden's mom passes. And then this person writes this. The world is a better place without Turtle Boy's mother. Thank God she is dead. I'm hearing that after using her to try to get out of jail, it failed because no one cares what the useless, decrepit piece of shit had to say about her useless son. That Turtle Boy killed her with all the stress and shame he caused her. First good thing he's ever done, in my opinion. Brian Riccio at least had family who cared, not so much for mannish Mary. Now, I don't know the circumstances of what happened to Aiden's mom, and I feel very bad. I truly do. But if I were looking at a murder case, I'd look at that evidence as extremely damning. I feel like you could actually get a conviction on that post. On this very post, you can absolutely get a conviction. Oh, wow. Pancreatic cancer. That's like one of the most painful cancers too. My uncle passed of pancreatic cancer. Horrible, horrible, which just makes this post even more disgusting and horrible. I mean, this is the lack of self-awareness that these people have, that they can now, if I'm thinking of, like, if I'm looking at the hanging turtle as a crime, I'd say that was evidence. That right there proves that she had motive to do it, because she sounds awfully hateful towards Turtle Boy's mom. And this is the only person who has actually posted something publicly in regards to any feelings towards Turtle Boy's mom. This is the only person. And it's right after a dead turtle is found hanging from her property. I mean, I hope she goes to jail for that. I truly do. I hope she goes to jail for that. Because I'm looking at that post and I'm thinking, who else could have possibly hung that turtle? Who else? Who else had the motive? I mean, who else had the motive? So I hope she goes to jail. I hope Turtle Boy does whatever he feels is appropriate, and I support him 100%. Because that's somebody who belongs locked up. Because I can't imagine who else would have done that to an animal. And that's one thing that Terry and I do agree on, is you fuck with an animal, we got problems. Yeah, we got problems if you hurt an animal. Now, there was another thing I wanted to go over here. And Young Jerks posted this, and I started to watch it, but I have not seen the whole thing. God. So,
did you present a falsified complaint, federal copyright claim complaint?
100% yes.
Okay.
Okay.
If there's anybody who can spot a fake, a photo or a video, it is Lars. So Lars, we had to call you right away and ask you about these cockamamie photos that went all over the internet. I just want to make sure our control room has the right ones.
Now, Ashley Banfield is playing a dangerous game of getting me to say nice things about her. Because I don't like Ashley Banfield, but she's been actually bringing to light some good stuff. So I have to give her credit for that. Yeah. So,
because we were showing the house where the police officer died, Karen Reed's boyfriend. But the photos that went around the internet showed that right there. It showed Alan Jackson kind of snuggling around Karen Reed. And a lot of people believe this stuff. They hit the live button and it brings the photo to life for a second and a half. And you do not believe that this is real. And why is that?
No, I certainly do not believe this is real. I think there's only one photo actually that's a part of this that may be real, and that's the lunch photo. The other photos have some real issues. I'd be happy to show those to you actually, and we can see those together. So I'm going to share screen right now and show you some of that information. So if you're looking at my screen,
now before I let him get into this, let me share a couple of thoughts here because these people are of a mindset now, like by making this fake video, which we went over yesterday. Well, we talked about it anyway. And Fox News's take on it. When it comes to Paul O'Keefe speaking out publicly and only talking about the things that he talked about, when it comes to Kate Peter posting this and doing this thing that I totally believe it was her. I mean, it's totally her who hung that turtle. I'm totally convinced of it. Between those things, between the on the last one of the last days of deliberations, these people showed up with their really lazily made signs to counter protest after hearing Paul encourage counter protesting to take place. This is all and also this is very important. The fact that every opposition to every motion filed by the Commonwealth against a motion filed by the defense, somehow they make Turtle Boy the problem. And somehow they make him out to be the problem. And they hold him 100% responsible for all of the people that hang out outside the courthouse wearing pink shirts. You can tell this because they've put it on paper. They've put it in opposition motions. You can tell this because that's the go-to place when someone on the stand during the trial felt like they were cornered and they felt like they were caught on their lies. They turn to the jury and start with the sympathy plea and start blaming Turtle Boy for everything. So this is always the for some reason the prosecution's go-to. The motion to suppress those supporters' First Amendment rights to have this buffer zone in place. All of these things indicate to me that the prosecution, Michael Morrissey's office, blames the public support for getting this case to a point of a mistrial, to not getting a guilty verdict. They blame the support for Karen Reed, which it's very telling. It's very telling that that's exactly who they blame based on everything that we know, the things that I just named. But it's also very telling as to why they do this. It's because they don't have a case. It's a deflective tactic, and it's a desperate one. And so now what we're seeing is they are trying to shift their prosecution strategy because they gave up their whole case. People, in trial, they plan on retrying this case. They presented all the evidence they had. There is no more smoking gun. The idea of a smoking gun, it's gone. It's been proven by the defense that Karen Reed did not hit John O'Keefe with her SUV. Therefore, everything else is a moot point. She simply didn't do this. So nothing matters. It doesn't matter even if she said, I did it. That doesn't matter. because it's been proven that she did not hit John with her SUV. It's been proven. And I don't think she said, I did it. To me, that's just another weak tactic by the prosecution to try to get her found guilty in order to successfully gain a conviction. But I don't believe that happened at all. None of us do. Now, all of this stuff, this is all a PR effort coming from the prosecution. I'm seeing it for what it is in a big picture here. The refaced video leaked by Kate Peter. This woman is absolutely 100% in charge of this PR for the prosecution. And she's doing it out of the kindness of her heart because she's insane and a hateful fuck. Like, the prosecution, I don't think, is paying her. They just found someone crazy and driven enough and hateful enough to do this with their own free time because all she has is free time. So this is what's going on here. And I think that the O'Keefes, as well as the prosecution, are using people like Kate Peter and Plevin and CourtTV to spread their narrative, like the New York Post. Because what they're doing now, the strategy is to build public support. That is the prosecution's strategy now, because they don't have another strategy. We saw how weak their strategy was to begin with in the first place. And we saw how much contempt they had for the defense for having so much public support. And they felt very threatened by this public support. So what the prosecution's new move is, now that they're going to retry this case after they've already presented their weak, pathetic excuse for evidence to convict her, and it failed, now what they're going to try to do is gain public support because they think that's where the problem is. That's what's really fascinating. They think that's the problem. They look at Karen Reed smiling at children, receiving little gifts that the children make for her. They see that shit. They see people going, Karen, you're strong. Keep going, keep going. Her smiling, saying thank you, shaking hands, hugging people. They see this shit and it infuriates them. And they think that that has something to do with the way that they presented their case. They think that that has any impact on that whatsoever. And it simply doesn't. They failed to conduct a thorough and sound and ethical investigation and failed to present a thorough and sound prosecution based on the weak findings of this pathetic excuse for an investigation. So this is where we're at. So now what the prosecution is doing, make no mistake about it, the prosecution's new tactic, their new strategy is to gain public support, which won't do jack shit. The only reason it bothers me is because it just makes things harder on Karen Reed. But the thing is there's a deeper layer than that. There's a deeper layer than the prosecution doing this, right? And going this route. There's a deeper layer to that. Because you have to ask why. Why are they retrying this case? Why are they so... It's clear that Karen Reed did not do this. So why are they retrying this case? Right? That's the big question. And the only logical answer is to stall any attention being pointed towards the McAlberts. Once you take the eyes off of Karen Reed, there's only one other place for your eyes to go. That is the people inside 34 Fairview Road, the early morning hours of January 29th, 2022. There is no other way to go. Nowhere else for your eyes to go. That's it. So once the attention is off of Karen Reed,
the attention is going to be hyper-focused on the McAlberts. And this is all a big game of deflection. That's all this is. It's not complicated. It is all a big strategic effort to deflect attention away from the McAlberts and continue it on to Karen Read. The longer you wait to prosecute or investigate or indict the McAlberts, the harder it is going to be to convict them. That's the truth. And that is all they are doing. It's not that difficult to understand. And I absolutely feel like this is the truth. And I absolutely feel like the McAlberts are dirty, 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 disgusting motherfuckers because A, I've already seen them behave as such. And B, look at the people that they have supporting them. Look at the caliber of character of the people that they have supporting them. All the most disgusting of the disgusting. All of them. It's clear. It's clear. Like, think about it. People like Turtle Boy can go up on his channel and say the things that he said, and people are going to go, yeah, you know, people are going to support me even though I use the word cunt so freely and happily and retard. The reason why that is because you guys understand that those words don't matter and they don't define my character. What defines my character are my principles and my conviction for justice, the convictions that I have for justice, for right versus wrong. That's why you guys are here. So little things like me using words that might offend somebody are not on your, that they are not your concern. Right? But the thing is, that's very telling. That's very telling. Because you are here for a core reason, not a surface reason, a core reason. You watch Turtle Boy for a core reason, not a surface reason, a core reason. People just watch Kate Peter to hate Turtle Boy. That's it. It's fucking wild. And the fact that the prosecution seems to think that he's the biggest problem with this investigation, again, is very, very telling. Why? Because he's managed to make exculpatory evidence very public through his own independent investigations because he told the truth. He's not spreading lies. He brings receipts with everything. So it's very, very telling that the prosecution's strategy always seems to be a method of deflecting from the McAlberts. Everything that they do and everybody connected to the prosecution, even just in a degree of agreeing with them and supporting them, there's always a deflection from the McAlberts.
One thing I want to show you right here, Ashley, first is that when we're looking at this photo on this side, you know, if you look around, we can read the parking sign here. We have high resolution in the background. We got high resolution bushes. But we've got a very high resolution, a very low resolution face. And there's certainly enough reference photos out there to replace the face from all this footage that's out there on this case for Karen. And honestly, when I'm looking at this, my first impression, we look over here, we see the gentleman wearing a Fitbit over here, it looks like, or a Whoop band. And that on his wrist, we see in this photo right here as well. And this hairline and this hair shape certainly resembles Mr. Jackson more, in my impression, than this interesting looking haircut. And one thing to note, when you're talking about forensics, in particular tool marks related to applications like Photoshop or CapCut and the rest, like we're going to talk about in a moment, this hard line right here is pretty evident of a potential tool mark, actual tool mark of using a tool within Photoshop. Items that are more interesting to me, like this. So we have this incredibly skinny leg. We have some other items like that. And when we look at the video in a moment, this arm right here,
incredibly
this arm
skinny
morphs
leg
in shape. It grows larger and smaller, and there's a lot of anomalies. And it's actually, it has been edited. I know it's been edited. There's no doubt about it. I actually don't even need to see the video to tell you it's been edited. We can listen to just the audio and see the tool marks in that. That's right here, actually. This is called...
Yeah, you can recognize tool marks in audio, because in the audio, I don't think the audience heard the audio, but it kind of sounds like the din of a restaurant. Like the person who took that video might be inside the restaurant looking out the window at the action. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right. But honestly, I don't even know if that's actual audio. I think it may be dubbed in, because you can do that in CapCut, which is the tool that was used here. So let me show you this real quick so we can see. You don't even need the video to prove that it's been edited. What we see here is called a spectrogram. A spectrogram is a visual representation of auditory data. So it allows you to see audio data. And you see these hard lines, these big cuts in between the audio. Those are tool marks. That is a cut of an audio file where you have somebody who's used an editing tool to slice out a section. And if we listen to it, which I'll play in just a moment, you'll actually hear a bing, a system sound, either from a computer or a phone, probably a computer, where it's on the editing while he's making it. So I'm going to play that now if you'd like to.
This dude loves this shit. I love it.
That nice bing is a system sound. Now, that background noise, CapCut, this tool that we're utilizing here, the same one used to edit this video file, has built-in sounds. I found many sounds that sounded very similar to this. And if we transition to the video, we can see there's some more evidence of that as well. So I've actually taken this video and I've spliced in those still images so we can compare that, because that's another element here as well. So we have the original video, and I'm going to pull it across so you can kind of see it.
Tough cracking.
You see that arm? See the arm shaping differently? I'm going to zoom in. So if you watch that arm, it changes size. Like morphing in size. Bigger and smaller throughout. So that's one issue here. But the other issue is that you cannot have a low resolution video that produces high resolution clips. So there's alleged still shots from this video. Not possible. But there's also a real rookie mistake here, and that's the following. If you watch the video all the way through, what comes up? This. That CapCut sound right there, that's appended to a video when you edit it in the CapCut software, and it adds it to the end if you don't delete it. So that's in there on every CapCut file unless you go and selectively delete it after you produce it. So that's just a total rookie mistake.
So, okay, you're amazing, but the rest of us are not. Is there something that we can do out here in the mere mortal universe to be able to recognize? Because I did not see the CapCut end graphic in the versions of this photo that I saw. And I saw a bunch of different versions, right? People texted it to me. Yeah. I saw it online. I saw it in a bunch of files, but I never saw that CapCut. Did you have to have specialized equipment to see that?
No, I pulled this down from the actual, the Twitter post, or excuse me, X post. I pulled it down and was able to, it was right there. So I extracted this from that actual post. But one thing that's even more interesting here, you see how low resolution this is? You can't take a low resolution video and pull a high resolution clip. So that gentleman was claiming that these clips that I've spliced in, I found the exact spots where they would splice in, came from this video. So you see how that transitions so hard? You have that blur to this.
Oh, yeah.
This video has been edited to death. So this actual movement in here, where you see it doing that,
this video has been edited
transition. See these right here? These are all CapCut transitions. I could drag one into this video right here, and we can watch one. See a transition like that? That's all built in with this tool. This has been edited significantly. So in my expert opinion, I know this has been edited because we have editing software marks. But even these images right here, where we have those, I don't think you can trust these at all, because once again, there are plenty of reference images out there where you could pull her face smiling from the courtroom or other areas, and replacing these faces on here would be very simple to do if you know what you're doing. And there's generative AI tools that would allow to do it. I could do it by hand and it would look absolutely real. But this is kind of amateur looking work because you see how low resolution it is. What you do if you want to make is you take a high resolution something, you edit it up, and then you make it low resolution so you can't see the tool marks. You can't see the details. That is what we have here.
Wow.
I am about bothering people. Apparently, that's what I do, right? Prior to the chili debacle, I would see on AdSense maybe somewhere between $200 to $500 a month. There's been a
Okay, so what's the chili debacle? I don't even know what that is, but listen to what she says here.
people. Apparently, that's what I do, right? Prior to the chili debacle, I would see on AdSense maybe somewhere between $200 to $500 a month. There's been a huge influx of cash coming in since the chili debacle. So we're looking at right now anywhere between like $2,000 to $4,000 a month, which is a huge increase. But now that's going towards other things that come with the feud. I'm 35 years old with a meth face. What I do is I kind of troll around the internet. I find people that I find interesting because social media, you can get a mob together and spread a ton of disinformation and just absolutely, bear down on other people or take advantage of them financially. And I'm a little bit of an agent of chaos too. So I do like the chaos. So it'll ebb and flow.
So like up until she said that, I took that like, okay, well, she could just be like talking about somebody else. We don't really know the context. This is cut up. So we don't really know the context of what she's talking about here. But when she like in the same breath calls herself an agent of chaos, what she's doing is bragging about those things that she was saying prior.
Flow. Kind of just I find interesting because social media, you can get a mob together and spread a ton of disinformation and just absolutely, bear down on other people or take advantage of them financially. But I'm a little bit of an agent of chaos too. So I do like the chaos.
So she's bragging about basically just like getting a mob together and just fucking grifting off of them. Like she's basically bragging. She's JLR. That's what she is. She's just not as smart. But she's basically JLR. That's what she is. Like has no like she gets a pleasure from causing chaos. She gets a pleasure from it. She gets a pleasure from being a disgusting fuck.
Chaos. So it'll ebb and flow. We'll find, people that I kind of go back and forth with that people are not that interested in, or maybe I drag it out too long because I have impulse control problems and I take it, personally sometimes, or sometimes you'll find somebody like Chili that a lot of people have interest in and, it kind of explodes.
I mean, bro. I mean, this is just a nasty, nasty fucking human being, bro. Like I've seen some nasty motherfuckers, like some nasty, disgusting, downright dirty fucks. This is someone who takes pride in nothing of herself other than hurting others. Her ability to hurt others. This is a miserable, miserable fuck right here. I've never seen anything like it. Well, no, I have. I have. I have.
And then, it'll die down until we find the next person that people find interesting too. This motherfucker, I have on good authority, had like a fucking panic attack because they seized his devices, right? So
I've also heard that too, yes.
Yeah, I don't think he had a good day. Potential felon Aiden Carney of Turtle Boy Sports was arrested today on, I believe we're up to 9 felony charges and 4 misdemeanors for a total of 13 charges so far.
Hey, faggot, it's Kate. Kate Peter, crusty panties, how you call it. I just wanted to let you know every time you get a block number, it's not Lindsay or LG or anyone else. It's me. And I just want to let you know that when you go back to jail, I had absolutely everything to fucking do with it because you're a dumb motherfucker, right? And every time that you victimize a female, I'm going to be right there pushing back. I just want you to know that. Play this on your fucking live show. I am going to get the best of you. You're a bad person, and everybody's going to see it. Have a nice day. By the way, Karen Reed wants nothing to do with you. Go fuck yourself.
Wow.
Bitch.
Jesus Christ.
I meant it. I'm entered.
Lady. That lady. I've never seen anybody so fucking hateful, bro. At least not on YouTube. I mean, I've seen stuff that kind of comes close, but yo, that's just insane, man. That's just insane. Now, I'm gonna go over this because I haven't gone over it yet, and this came out about 3 days ago, but I want to watch it, and this is Court TV here. This is man, fucking Vinny. Fucking Vinny, man. I'm gonna play it in high speed, but
on the steps of the courthouse in Dedham, Massachusetts, and proclaimed her innocence, telling the world she did not murder her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe. And as Karen proclaimed her innocence, she also pointed the finger at the people she believed were responsible for the murder, people who she claimed were framing her for murder. Then, a local blogger named Turtle Boy picked up the story, believing Karen was framed by dirty cops. Then Turtle Boy's followers started showing up at the courthouse, making allegations of a conspiracy and a cover-up. Things got personal. It divided the community. Then, finally, the trial happened. 9 weeks of testimony and evidence meant to clear things up and show the truth.
See, man, it didn't divide the community, bro. Like, you see Vinny's just going for the most dramatic shit in the world. Like, dude, there was like 4 fucking scragglers, bro. Vinny, there was like 4 fucking scragglers. Like, you know what I mean? Nobody even engaged with them. Everyone turned their back on them. They came out there to cause shit, and they just like everybody ignored them.
The truth to the jury. But in the end, the jury was as divided as the community, and they deadlocked. So what now? How will either side get the whole truth in front of the next jury? Tonight, we take a look at the evidence no one presented, the evidence the jury didn't hear or see, and ask the question, will the prosecution or defense show it to the next jury? We'll do this as we continue our investigation into the tragic death of Officer John O'Keefe. I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments, still in the aftermath of the jury being deadlocked in that long, long trial of Karen Read. Basically, at the end of the day, nothing was proven. That's your real takeaway.
What?
In our system of justice, for something to be proven, it needs to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt, and it wasn't. And it wasn't because the jury came back and said, no, we don't all 12 agree. And that's the only
Okay, all right. He means the prosecution didn't prove anything. And I agree with him. They didn't prove shit.
way that you can prove your case in our system. A
Because it wasn't on the defense. I wish he would have like pointed out that the defense managed to prove things. But you know, it's not on them. You know, it's the burden's not on them to prove anything beyond a reasonable doubt. The burden's on them to create doubt.
Prosecutor has to bring in the evidence, convince all 12 must agree it didn't happen. So we're back to square one where nothing was proven.
The prosecution did a good enough job of that themselves. They thought that getting in front of it before the cross-examination was going to like was going to help in some way. And like the prosecution were their own they were their own Achilles heel.
It was proven. She's presumed innocent, and it's up to prosecutors to try again. The really sad part of all this is that the family of John O'Keefe, his mom, his dad, his brother, they deserve the truth. Whatever the truth is, they deserve the truth in this case.
Well, here's the thing.
And the evidence presented.
Here's the problem with that, Vinny. I agree with you. They absolutely deserve the truth. The problem is that the truth has been provided to them. The truth has been provided to them. That's where I'm at now. Being the family of a fallen police officer, they absolutely deserve the truth. But the truth has been provided to them. It's not even a question anymore. The truth has been provided to them.
Presented did not get the jury there. Individual jurors may have felt that way, but collectively they didn't. They did not, one way or the other. So for the family to get the truth, I think in this case, you're going to need additional facts. You're going to need additional facts in this next trial. Absolutely. because I believe they didn't hear everything, this jury. Because the way the case was tried was that there were really two cases being tried at once. Karen Reed for murder and the lead investigator, the folks in the house, and Canton police for an alleged cover-up and conspiracy. So once that conspiracy ends up in the mix, it really changes fundamentally the way this evidence is coming in and what the jury is perceiving and what they have to figure out. So unfortunately, someone needs to come forward with more information to get this jury to the truth. And I'm talking to both sides here. I'm talking to both sides. And who will reveal the truth here? Will the prosecutor bring in more evidence to show this jury that this whole conspiracy is impossible? Not
okay. So here's the interesting thing. And hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from when I say this. The defense chose to go with a third-party culprit defense. They didn't have to do that. Now, the fact that they did this tells me that they are they are acting in the interest of getting justice for John O'Keefe, when the Commonwealth clearly wasn't. They were acting in the interest of getting justice for John O'Keefe. Now, that wasn't what they were obligated to do. What they were obligated to do, ethically, the defense I'm speaking of, is they were ethically just supposed to disprove or poke holes in the prosecution's case against Karen Reed. That's it. Just create enough doubt to where and focus on the reasonable doubt. That's it. Just focus on the reasonable doubt. That's all they had to do. And some are saying, well, that's why we didn't get across the board not guilty verdict. Well, that's possible. I'm willing to entertain that possibility, maybe even a likelihood, right? But the thing is what it tells me is that Karen Reed and her defense were absolutely motivated by justice for John in their actions. These are arguably the best defense lawyers in the world. You don't think that they could have just done that? You don't think they could have just gone in there and been like, look, a win, if you want to win and you want to put this behind you and it's going to be behind you and that's it, the way to go here is reasonable doubt. Just poke holes. They conducted this investigation horribly. All we got to do is just show this to the jury. Jen Del Rio gifted 5 memberships. Right on. Thank you so much. Bill King, Melissa Menendez, Just Joe, Jimmy Billings. Where's Nina? Congrats to all you guys. Right on. And somebody gifted 5 memberships yesterday, and I missed it. So thank you to that person who gifted 5 memberships yesterday. Thank you so much. I was too busy yapping and I missed it. And it's Cherry's fault because she wasn't here to yell at me. So they could have absolutely, now again, they could have absolutely gone with the defense and with your basic defense that I feel likely would have just gotten that for sure not guilty verdict across the board in that jury. I do believe that. But I'm not an attorney, so I mean, what do I know? But they, as I said, they really, truly, in my opinion, by not going that route and going the extra mile, I feel like they were trying to make the people responsible for John O'Keefe's death responsible. So again, all of that stuff is on record now. That whole trial is now on record. Now there's going to be a retrial. And this retrial, I just can't imagine what the prosecution is going to try to pull here. And what it seems like they're trying to do is they are so desperate that now their strategy is trying to desperately get the public's support. And they're really bad at it. They're really bad at it because the problem is the facts are already all out there. You're going to have to make everybody unlearn the facts if you're going to do that.
And you're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to take thousands and thousands and thousands of people and make them convinced all of a sudden that every piece of information that where we've been made available to us and made aware of is now no good. It's just you're never going to do that. So I mean, now what they're trying to do is get the public's, but this is what's really funny is the people who are trying to get the public support, they underestimate the public. They truly underestimate the public. Because they have someone as sick as Kate Peter colluding with someone who is a bitter girlfriend of Turtle Boy. People who just hate Turtle Boy are now in charge of getting public support for the prosecution, which I find fascinating because I can't wait to see how this works out. If I'm being totally honest, I can't wait to see how this works out for the prosecution. I can't wait to see how this works out for the Commonwealth. Is to see like what is Kate Peter going to do next to get the public to support Paul O'Keefe, because Paul O'Keefe, dude, I'm telling you, if you're watching, you got the wrong people vouching for you, dude. If you're trying to get the public support, dude, I've got the wrong people vouching for you. That in and of itself is a bad look. To basically repeat what this Kate Peter said verbatim in an interview is not helping. And I want you to have the public support. I do want you to have the public support. What I don't want is for you, who is absolutely convinced that an innocent woman committed this crime, whether you're a family member of the victim or not, I can't back you up on that. I don't want you to have support if that's the case. I'm sorry. But the thing is, the truth is there. And the cool thing about the truth is the truth can be very forgiving. I don't think that anybody is going to ostracize you and anybody is going to criticize you so much if you were to really look at the evidence and really look at everything that's going on and really take a hard look at the people who are in your ear on a constant basis and make the right decision here. Because you could still get justice for John. That could still happen. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. But this is just too much to ignore. And I mean, you know, the Commonwealth can manipulate news media all they want, you know, but it's very telling that they won't publicly speak to the media, that they want the public support, but are afraid to actually address the public directly. I find that interesting. I find it interesting that the strategy of gaining public support is to manipulate them, as if the public are stupid, because the public sees the efforts to manipulate. That's it. We all see it. You're never going to manipulate a public to ignore the truth when that public is of a good heart and a good soul. These are good people who just want to live in a community where there's a lack of corruption. I mean, that's it. So there's no version of this where you're going to get the public support and continue to operate with impunity. It's just never going to happen. Where you continue to railroad an innocent woman, where you continue to do the corrupt things that you've been doing and not hold the right people accountable for not only John, but Sandra Birchmore as well. I mean, you're just never going to do this. These people are upset, they're angry, and they're sick and tired of living in a community under your umbrella of corruption. That's all this is. There's no changing that.
There's no changing. You're not gonna shift these people's convictions. The only way to do that is to take accountability. That's it. There's no way around it. At this point, it's that scene in Braveheart. You're gonna have to you're gonna have to put your head between your put your head between your legs, kiss your own ass, and on the way, fucking knock on every door and apologize for your umbrella of corruption that you've had everybody living under. That's basically the attitude of those people out there at this point. And you're reading the room totally wrong. These people are acting like there's an option here to continue fucking people over and lining their pockets. That's no longer an option for you. Not in a country where that's run by the people, of the people, and for the people. It's just never going to happen. Tyranny never lasts. It never does.
Not based upon what someone said, but some real, like basically irrefutable evidence. And is there a video somewhere that we didn't see? Likely not. Or if there was a video, someone got rid of it, right? So I don't think a video is going to suddenly appear in this case. But how about records? How about data about the location of everyone? Everyone, because remember, it's an alleged conspiracy that people conspired to do what they did to John O'Keefe. So conspiracy involves a lot of different people. And we know there are people in and out of that house. So let's start here with John O'Keefe, his cell phone data. You take a look at it. You had witnesses for both sides talking about John O'Keefe's GPS location information, his Apple Health data, his movements. Like at the end of the day, the jury got an idea about what the data said about where John O'Keefe's phone was and what it was doing. Okay? It ended up with a little bit of a battle of the experts. But there was a good foundation built around John O'Keefe's cell phone. Great. He's the victim in the case. Karen Reed's the defendant.
See, the fact that Vinny can sit there and with a straight face call Trooper Paul an expert is beyond me. It's beyond me. I mean, we saw the guy testify in open court. We saw him testify. He's nothing even close to an expert. So these are the things that bother me about Vinny. You know, the fence riding is just really, really irritating. It's like, just, I mean, dude, you were a lawyer, weren't you? Why aren't you just calling this out and going, the prosecution did nothing?
Phone calls from Karen's cell phone tracked her movements on the night of January 29th. They used this also to find surveillance video of her car. And we know when she got back to the house, when she hooked back up with the Wi-Fi. Like they're using evidence to track her. They're using this evidence to track her whereabouts. So we're able to follow and figure out where she is and when she's there. Data from her car backing up. All this stuff was used to tell this jury, not through some witness who said, yeah, I saw her at this time, but data that says she is somewhere at some time. Well, what about the rest of the people in the house? There's a bunch of them. They all testified. But at the end of the day, their testimony wasn't enough. Either the cross-examination or the direct wasn't enough to convince the jury one way or the other, collectively. So isn't there some way that someone could help us track where all these people were and what they were doing in the hours in question? Well, let's find out. Joining me tonight, he's the best criminal defense investigator, Charles Middlestat, with us. Also joining us, the former head of the homicide unit in the Norfolk District Attorney's Office, Attorney Rick Grundy, and finally, criminal defense attorney, college instructor, author, Peter Ellikin. Great to have all three of you tonight, handpicked by me to be in this segment tonight. Charles, you know something about phone data. You know a lot. You're able to put people together. Don't need to get into all that, but let me ask you, Charles, if you've got all these people in the house, most people have phones, as we sit here tonight, getting ready for a new trial, is it possible, like logistically, I'm not gonna get into the legal wrangling yet, but logistically, to find records from cell phone towers or somewhere else where you can help track the location of the other people who were in the house that night?
There certainly is, Vinny. And again, I didn't follow this case gavel to gavel, so I don't know the full scope of the testimony or the.
I mean, I don't get what you're doing here, Vinny.
I think we got a super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super dad. I think.
Heavy holler, thank you. Silent people are positive, negative people scream. That tends to be the case sometimes, but not always, man. And thank you, I appreciate it. What about that? What about whenever you like hear about somebody, and then they talk like a serial killer, and then the neighbors, they ask the neighbors about him, and they're like, well, he was a quiet man, kept to himself a lot. You always hear that shit. Here's a quiet man, kept to himself a lot. Thought he was a little squirrely, but who am I to judge? He's minding his own business. I was minding my own business. That's what you always hear. Like the worst of the worst.
Or the evidence in the case, but certainly what was available to both sides was simply with a subpoena was the ability to subpoena every single individual's phone records, the call detail records, and also the geolocation data associated with those phones. And that's done simply with a subpoena.
Yeah. It's done simply with a subpoena. See, okay, so Vinny, all right, man. I like where you're going, Vinny. I like where you're going, bro. Okay. But like, do you need a whole goddamn segment for this? Do you need all these expert panelists to come to the conclusion like Proctor didn't ask anybody for their phones? Like, that's just what this boils down to. He's having this whole production over, can this be done? Can that be done? We know it can be done. How many fucking how many trials have you covered? You're CourtTV, for fuck's sake. CourtTV. Of course you know that the whereabouts of the people inside that house could be tracked. Come on. Oh, I got Kevin Keene in the chat, man. Kevin Keene, drop the name of your podcast in the chat. I'm going to be on, I don't know if we're recording it or doing it live, but Thursday at 8, I think 7 or 8. I don't know. I have to look at our Twitter messages again, but I'm supposed to be on his podcast. And I'm excited about it. But dude, like, you need all these expert panelists to tell you that's these people's fucking whereabouts could have been tracked. Of course, their phones were never even subpoenaed. He didn't even ask for them. He didn't even interview some of them for months.
To a cell phone provider, it's very easy to determine the carrier for each individual subscriber that we're dealing with. And it looks like we're dealing with about 10 different individuals. And certainly the defense would have had access to that. They would have had the ability through their discovery powers to leverage that data. Now, as to whether those records would exist anymore or not, really depends on the carrier. Each carrier has a different policy with regard to preservation. And so some of those records may still exist. Some of them may not. But what you would be able to do, in addition to the geolocation data, and frankly, more important, I think, at this stage than the geolocation data associated with those individuals within the household is the call detail records. Because if something happened inside of that house, I suspect that there would have been a flurry of activity on those phones. You would see text messages. You wouldn't see the content because the content's not going to be within those call detail records. The content would reside on those phones, and you would actually need to have physical custody of those phones in order to image them.
Well, some of those phones have been destroyed, so they wouldn't necessarily be available. So some of them, let me ask you this. Let me follow up on something else. Is there any other way to track locations of cell phones in an area? Can you get data straight from cell phone tower records? Is there anything like that exist, or is that the geo-fence stuff?
That's the geolocation. So again, when you're subpoenaing the call detail records, within that is the geolocation data. And so it's broken into two categories. You have the cell tower data that you're referring to, Vinny. And then in addition to that, you have historical GPS data. And there's a third segment, which is the engineering data, which often I just subpoenaed some AT&T records. And so I not only got what's called NELOS data, that's AT&T's proprietary historical GPS data, which is far, far more precise than cell tower data. Cell tower data, you get into propagation studies in terms of range and so forth. GPS can be accurate within 3 meters. Not always, but it's far, far more accurate. It's not depending upon a tower. And then you also have this engineering data, which is also generally GPS based, which is also incredibly accurate. And so between those things, it is very possible to very precisely place somebody there. Now, with all those phones, whether they Again, a lot of these phones
You mean like the way they place John inside the house? You mean like that?
don't exist. But at the time, certainly the prosecution, had they gone in there, had they actually done proper interviews, had they actually taken some of these phones into custody, or at least sought permission to look at them or questioned these individuals about whether anybody had taken pictures, shot some video. We often do witness mining based upon getting a picture. We talk to a witness, hey, did you take any pictures that night? Yeah, I think I did. And then we get a photograph, and in the background, we're able to identify 3 or 4 of the people in the background. So there's more witnesses. And now we identify them. Now we're broadening the scope of the witness pool.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, though. Bottom line, with just tracking the location of everyone, whether they're moving in and out of the house, whether they're in the front yard, when they leave, can you do it without the phones? If the phones are gone, you can do it without the phones.
Well, you can place them in the general location. If you're relying on cell tower data, then you're going to be relegated to placing them in the general location of that residence.
Okay, but that may be enough in some of these instances.
What the fuck is the point of this, Vinny? Jesus fucking Christ, man. Okay, I love that you're kind of entertaining the idea of the McAlberts fucking, whatever. But dude, all of this shit is moot. All you need to do is point out the fact that this could be done because you already fucking know it. Your viewers already fucking know it. And that these idiots these assholes destroyed their phones or got rid of their phones. Even though they were never even asked for their phones. Yet 2 of them were ordered to not destroy their phones, to preserve their phones. They were under court order to do so. Brian Albert and Brian Albert and Brian Higgins. I mean, this is what needs to be talked about. Why is everyone so fucking afraid to talk about this? This stuff was proven in court.
Instances. Rick Grundy, we sat through this whole trial. It's very unclear about any movements of any of these people. It's unclear exactly what time they show up, when they leave. Is it incumbent upon the prosecution at this point to attempt to bring that evidence in? Because from his perspective, he wants to erase that reasonable doubt that was being raised and obviously was raised during the course of this first trial. Do you see this as an option in the second trial? What would stop him? Why wouldn't a prosecutor want to uncover as much truth as possible, which could, from his perspective, erase reasonable doubt of this so-called conspiracy?
Great question.
So I agree with the overall premise. More information is always better from the prosecution side because, I always tell young prosecutors the best thing you got going for you is that your job is to present.
Okay, Vinny, I see you, buddy. Go ahead.
The truth. Find the truth and present it. So more information is always better. But beyond that, I think one thing that the prosecution erred in doing in the case was chasing down little landmines that were placed by the defense that we found out they couldn't follow up on what they said the jury was going to get to. Too much of the trial was spent on that. So I think, with respect to those individuals in the house, they all testified they were in the house. I'll defer to Charles, but my understanding of what's available at this point in time is not going to, if you could get Higgins and Albert and the young kid in the basement, alone, that would be great for the defense. But they're all in the house. You're not likely to get anything more precise that's going to swing the pendulum one way.
But let me tell you this: if they still have their phones, and they have Apple phones and they have Apple Health, and they're not walking up and down the stairs, and you can show their movements, you can show when they left. Why wouldn't the prosecution want that? Why wouldn't the prosecution get it and try to present it? He knows that he didn't succeed first time around. I mean, something's got to change. We know the public reaction to the evidence in this case. Something's got to change if the prosecution believes they're in the right here and they want to win.
I like the idea that Charles put forth with respect to, there's going to be scampering. I mean, if there's nobody leaving the house by the side door or the storm door or whatever it was that supposedly dragged this body out, obviously that's great for you. But again, you're disproving, which is important, but I'd want him to focus on proving. And to be honest with you, I don't know that information wasn't available as much as it wasn't presented in the strongest manner and in a most effective manner. If John O'Keefe never gets, that's where I would want to focus. If John O'Keefe never gets into the house, game over on the defense theory. That's it. It's done. He never approached that threshold. It just didn't happen.
Let me ask you, Peter Elkin, for the defense, legally trying to get some more of this information. This defense is different. They are not saying that they can't prove it. They're saying they run the courthouse steps saying she's innocent. She's absolutely innocent, and someone else did it, and we know who did it. Like, at this point, getting ready for a second trial, you just sitting back and just letting it roll? Or are you going to be aggressive in perhaps trying to reinvestigate the case and try to get more information because you believe that your client is factually innocent? They've been using those words, factually innocent. So do you think they need to be a little more proactive so they can show this jury why you can't?
Danny, didn't you know that the Karen Reed is guilty people think that fucking factually is not actually a word? Didn't you know that?
Can't believe this prosecution theory.
Yeah, that's exactly what they should be doing. But here I'm going to play a little bit of a Mr. Negativity here about
Sure.
A little pessimistic about whether that information is available anymore. As we know, the phones of the people in the house, virtually every single one of them either deleted their phone or took their phone and threw out and destroyed the SIM card. So saying we'd like to go back, boy, that information would sure be valuable for us. That would that just the parade may have gone by. That may not exist anymore. I know Charles had mentioned something about it'd be great to see even the phone communications or when they.
Okay, let me cut you off because I think there's one moment here that is significant. Okay, this was a significant part of the case. The plow driver who testified. Let's take a listen so I can remind everyone what we're talking about here.
What time was it? Your best estimate?
Man, I agree with all that. You agree with all that?
Trace the signal.
Of course you do.
In terms of when you would have approached.
Lucky Lawfriend. You gotta love this guy, bro. Gotta give him a round of applause.
Everyone, see your question again.
3:15 to 3:30. At that point, I saw a Ford Edge on the side of the road.
Where was it parked on the side of the road?
In front of the Albert's house.
Where in front of the Albert's house?
By the flagpole.
All right, Charles, I'm going to go back to you. If it's 3:15, everybody supposedly left the party, but now someone's pulling up in a Ford Edge or parking a Ford Edge near where the body was ultimately found. How would you go about trying to figure out if someone is milling around at 3:15 at this point? Not the initial investigation, but right now.
Again, the cell phone records. The cell phone records are completely different than the phone extractions. Phone extractions are going to be dependent upon having access to the phones. If the phones are gone, they're gone. The records are the records. There's no way to interfere with them.
Okay. See, I like what I'm hearing. I like what I'm hearing, but can they get the phone records? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Benny Paulton. Can they get the phone records? Loud ass motherfucker. I'm loud too sometimes.
With those, you can't erase the records. There's no ability on a subscriber's part to manipulate the records in any way whatsoever. So if someone was engaged in texting between parties, if there was some sort of scurrying going on because there was an injury in the house or an incident occurred, again, it works both ways. So the absence thereof, it works in the prosecution's favor. The presence of activity amongst those 10 folks in the home would indicate, first of all, that would have been great for cross-examination. If you, as the defense, would be able to say, hey, I see you, you two people were texting, or you were texting this person, or you were making these phone calls. Here's a 2-minute phone call with so-and-so. What was that conversation about? What were you texting about? I mean, these are all
well,
the
this
same.
case has turned out to be a butt dial. They said they claim mutual butt dials, a double mutual butt dial at 222.
That's a new one. Yeah. But the main thing about the records is it has the ability to.
You gotta look at. See, I'm not buying none of this shit, Vinny. I'm just not buying none of it. Not until you start talking about, because I don't care about you mentioning it a little here and there. There's a federal investigation probe into Michael Morrissey's office. That needs to be talked about. Again, as I was saying yesterday, I don't give a fuck about you. Y'all, I mean, you have Paul O'Keefe and all these people whining and bitching about Karen Reed being a celebrity. We didn't do that. Turtle Boy didn't even do that. The prosecution did that shit. The Massachusetts State Police and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts did this. We would rather not see Karen Reed as the celebrity. We would rather see Michael Morrissey. We would rather see Michael Morrissey on our television screen and on our computer screens, on our phone screens, in handcuffs. Headlines. District Attorney, Norfolk County, Massachusetts, indicted on several charges. That's what we want to see. We don't give a fuck about Karen Reed being famous. Nobody here does. Nobody here does, man. All we give a fuck about is that John O'Keefe gets justice.
To very positively timestamp certain events. And so with the geolocation data, like the plow driver there, you could timestamp his presence in that area.
How about the Ford Edge? If you know which Ford Edge it is, are the records related to the car company? Would they have anything? Is there any way to specifically locate a car like a Ford Edge?
There's connected car technology. I don't know if Ford Edge has that sort of sophisticated connected car technology where you can actually download from the EDR, the event data recorder. It might have some data in it. But again, I don't know how much.
That's going to fucking disappear, bro. Like everything is non-existent or no longer exists. Never was or no longer does.
law enforcement did with regard to nearby ring cameras, nearby surveillance cameras of other
couldn't find them.
businesses.
Nobody in the neighborhood had a ring camera that was working. Apparently, that's another problem in the case. All right, everyone, stay where you are. This is why I invited them on. They know what they're talking about. When we come back, we're going to talk more about Trooper Michael Proctor Plus coming up next hour. It's the next huge trial on Court TV. A-list celebrity and actor Alec Baldwin will be inside a New Mexico courtroom facing homicide.
One more. To the Sallyport garage. Fact of the matter is, you delivered that car to Canton PD, to the Sallyport garage, before a single piece of taillight material was ever found in this case. Trooper Proctor, is that correct?
Correct. It arrives at 5:31.
This is a big deal for the defense. This is sort of the part of the foundation of their conspiracy and frame.
To the Sallyport garage. Fact of the matter is, you delivered that car to Canton PD, to the Sallyport garage, before a single piece of taillight material was ever found in this case. Trooper Proctor, is that correct?
Correct. It arrives at 5:31.
So he admits it right there. He basically admits on the stand. Trooper Proctor basically admits right there on the stand that he had to have planted those taillight pieces. Like it's ridiculous. This is ridiculous. That everything, it just basically boils down to he had to have done it.
This is a big deal for the defense. This is sort of the part of the foundation of their conspiracy and frame job, is that Trooper Michael Proctor is the one who takes pieces of the taillight off of Karen Reed's car and then plants them at the scene. And the timing of this is significant, right?
Now it doesn't necessarily prove that he planted it, but it proves that Michael Morrissey's a liar. It proves that Plevin doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Because Plevin, his whole thing with the taillight, his whole argument against Sean this whole time is that Proctor never had the opportunity to plant the taillight pieces. His own testimony proves that he did. That the vehicle arrives at the Sallyport at 5:31, long before they even find taillight pieces on the property. Before the CERT team ever even gets there. Long before the CERT team ever even gets there. Well, not long before, but before the CERT team gets there. And so, I mean, there's plenty of opportunity for him to do this. Plenty of it.
No one finds a piece of the taillight until Karen's car, after her car's been seized and brought back to the Sallyport at the Canton PD. So here's more of Trooper Michael Proctor's testimony. This is about what time it was seized, because every minute counts here. Take a listen.
You were responsible for seizing Miss Reed's car, correct?
Yes.
And you originally claimed that seizure took place at 5:30 p.m. Is that right?
Correct.
You signed numerous affidavits under oath, claiming that you did not seize Miss Reed's vehicle until 5:30 p.m. on January 29, 2022, right?
Correct.
At the time that you seized Miss Reed's vehicle, you were unaware that there was alarm.com surveillance footage of the area from which the car was seized, right?
Correct.
The fact of the matter is, that was false. The car was not seized at 5:30, was it?
4:16 p.m.
Right. An hour and change, an hour and 18 minutes, hour and 20 minutes earlier. Is that right?
Yes.
Did you ever seek to change or amend the error, the false statement about the time?
So,
or received it seized in any of those documents that you filed under oath?
When I incorrectly transcribed the times, it was on the first affidavit I had written. And then as I continued to write other search warrants, I used that as a template. So I never caught it on the first one. And that's the reason those times are off on the other affidavits I wrote.
So the first one was false. And then every single one after that.
So that right there, that alone, again, is just a drop in the bucket, but more than enough to create doubt in what they consider to be the smoking gun evidence against Karen Reed. That right there is more than enough. He lied. The jury doesn't have to think that he lied about it. They could sit there and go, oh, Well, he made a mistake. Regardless of whether it was deliberate or whether it was a mistake, he still put the wrong time on the initial affidavit. So now the jury has to ask themselves, did he lie? The jury will never know. And that right there, people, is doubt. That right there is a juror sitting there going, did he fucking lie about it or what? The fuck happened here? So this is more than enough for Karen to have gotten a not guilty verdict. I am of the opinion, considering the tactics by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, I am currently under the opinion that it's not a coincidence that there was. I find it suspicious that there was anybody who thought that there was something that there was anything that was considered proof against Karen Read that was solid. Anything. Because here's the thing is even on the lesser charges, how can you vote guilty on the lesser charges when you have experts that prove that Karen Read never even hit him with her car? All of the charges are moot. Every single charge should be not guilty simply because of the experts, the independent experts. Like, those guys created more than enough doubt that Karen Read even hit John O'Keefe with the. I'm not even counting or Dr. Russell. I'm not even counting Dr. Russell's testimony about the dog bites. Just the two guys from ARCA, the crash daddies, as you ladies like to call them. Just those two guys' testimony right there should have been more than enough to create doubt that Karen Read even hit John O'Keefe with her vehicle, considering their credentials and considering the fact that the defense didn't hire them as experts. They subpoenaed them. And why wasn't the jury asking, why was there a separate investigation going on here? What is going on?
After that was false too.
There was just an incorrect transcription of time.
An incorrect transcription of the time.
Yes.
Call that, I don't know, a Scrivener's error?
Objection.
Ask it differently. Sure. Was it a typo?
Yes.
It was a typo. So you got the 4 wrong, you got the 1 wrong, and you got the 6 wrong. And those turned into 5 and 3 and 0, right?
They were typos, sir.
And every minute counts here, right? Every minute counts because it's got to get from Karen Read's parents' house to the Canton Police Department. It's about 40 minutes. Could be a little less, could be a little more, depending on how quickly you're going. So there's a window of time.
Jennifer Ludlow, thank you. I appreciate it. I accidentally reported your live when I dropped my phone and picked it back up. I just wanted to apologize. How can I fix it? You can't. Actually, I don't know. Google it. But there you have it, folks. It's Jennifer Ludlow's fault if this channel gets shut down. Shut down. It's totally Jennifer Ludlow's fault, folks. I'm just kidding. Accidents happen. It's okay. I don't know. I'll live. I'll go fucking, I don't know, sell haberdashery or something. Who knows? Whatever. Doesn't matter. Life is life. What are you going to do?
Time when the car gets to the Sally Port that he has to, according to the defense, take the pieces of taillight, then bring it back to the scene of the crime and plant it while the CERT team, the emergency response team, is recovering this stuff. So the window is really small here. So let's bring back in our guests, Charles Milstadt, Rick Grundy, Peter Elliott. So the piece of taillight's got to go from the Sally Port to the crime scene to be planted, right? And there's video of Proctor here at the Sally Port, and he's behind the car by the taillight. You don't know what he's doing. Charles, is the equation any different when it comes to?
I mean, look at, they used the snow from the car that already came off as like a parking space marker. It's amazing.
Figuring out if Proctor went back to the light, you don't know what he's doing.
Look at that.
Charles, is the equation any different when it comes to at the Sally Port? And he's behind the car by the taillight, you don't know what he's doing. Charles, is the equation any different when it comes to figuring out if Proctor went back to the crime scene? If it's a police officer versus a regular civilian trying to track them, are there more records for the way police vehicles move? I'm trying to figure out why we didn't hear exactly where he went after he left the Sally Port.
Yeah, I think it's incredibly interesting and obviously highly significant. I don't know what kind of vehicle he traveled in. Whether he was in a did he drive that?
Jenny wants to know if I have a degree. You better believe it, Jenny. I got a PhD in fuck your mama.
Vehicle?
No, that was towed.
That was towed, right. So is he in a marked car? Does it have a dash cam? Does he have a body camera?
Now, folks, I don't literally mean for her birth mother to be intercoursed with in any way, shape, or form. Just want to be clear about that. Just want to be clear.
Wearing a body camera? Is he with anybody wearing a body camera? Look, there's going to be, during that route of travel, there should be an enormous number of different cameras along the way, and particularly early on when he seizes that vehicle, those are the ones that I'd have the most interest in to see if there's any way to.
How about his cell phone? Would his cell phone tell us?
Absolutely, his cell phone too, but I'm trying more specifically to determine whether when that vehicle was initially towed, whether that taillight was intact initially.
Oh, that's a big issue. There's pictures, and every picture is just not clear enough to figure out. Depending, it's like one of those tests. You look at it, you see what you want to see, and that's another divide in all this. Let me ask you, Rick Grundy. Why wouldn't the prosecution just present some definitive evidence about where Trooper Proctor went after he left that Sally Port? Something beyond his own testimony.
So my speculation on that would be that they don't have it, didn't develop it. Just to fill in some of the things that were just said, unlikely he's going to have a body cam, possibly a dash cam, but unlikely he's going to be in a unmarked car working out of the district attorney's office. But he's got his state police radio. He's got obviously at least one, if not two, cell phones. So my thought is that normally you have a state police officer and you feel that they've done a thorough and appropriate job, particularly those that are assigned to the district attorney's office, and that they have the credibility to present their actions through their own professional testimony. Here's an area where I agree with you. They may well want to. They certainly do want to, in light of the actions that were taken recently. You go back and you got to find whether it's other people, whether it's the chime cameras along the way, whatever it is that corroborates what Proctor says needs to be summoned for this second trial, because he's now in the position that I thought he should have been when he testified the first time. That is disgraced and removed.
And removed from his position. So Peter Ellikin, does the defense want to dig deeper to specifically prove where Proctor was? Not like, there were two people there, nobody knows who they were. There's a window of time here. He had time. It's only 5 minutes from the Sally Port to the crime scene. He could have gone there. He could have easily planted all this evidence. Do you, if you're Alan Jackson, David Yannetti, do you want to dig deeper? Do you want to hire Charles Middlestat to find out exactly where Trooper Proctor was for those 15, 20 minutes?
Absolutely. It would be so great to have absolute certainty and as opposed to what we were left with, just reasonable doubt that, he technically had the time to get there and nobody really saw and knew where he was going. That would be ideal to do it. I don't know if all that exists anymore. A lot of those sort of documentation and the cameras and all that, they don't save it over that long a period of time. Hopefully, it would have been better if that was done sort of in the past. If anything exists there, that would be so great to really finally have a real smoking gun, an aha moment, as opposed to this, they just didn't prove it beyond reasonable doubt. And he could have been there. So the defense did a good job of raising those questions. Yeah, it's a possibility.
But what are you people fucking talking about right now? Like, the defense isn't burdened to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Proctor did this. Like, like you said, it would be great. Sure, it'd be fucking great to have that smoking gun that Proctor to prove where Proctor was exactly. Sure, but I mean, it's not on them to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Proctor. Come on, like, and like we're gonna find that, and the only way that's gonna happen is if Proctor actually gets indicted and doesn't take a plea and goes on trial. Like, what's gonna happen here with Proctor is everything that Proctor has done is gonna get swept under the rug. That's what's gonna happen here. All of Proctor's bullshit that he pulled here in the Karen Reed investigation here, every bit that he pulled is going to be fucking swept under the rug. They're going to say, okay, well, we accused him, and like, even if they charge him with a crime, he's going to take a plea, and none of this shit's ever even going to come out. It's not even going to matter. Plevin shit-eating grin. Unfortunately, while this judge is involved, the shenanigans will never end. I hate that mop head. Y'all are funny as shit. Flevin's shit-eating grin. You know, like, dude, I was so baked the other day. I was thinking about that word, that term, shit-eating grin. It's like, where does that come from? Like, shit-eating grin. And then I thought about it. Like, what is a face? Like, if somebody was eating shit, what face would they make? So I guess this is like a shit-eating grin. You know? Levin straight up has a shit-eating grin, bro. Like, Levin straight up does. Like, hold on a second. Hold on. I gotta go over this. I need to hold on. I guess he doesn't have much to smile about in this video. But hold on. You gotta see what I'm talking about here. There it is. Look. I found Plevin's shit-eating grin. That's a That's a shit-eating grin, bro. That is Oh my god, I'm such a fucking retard, dude. That is straight up a Plevin shit-eating grin, bro. That is Thank you, Just Joe. My dad always said one asshole on a jury who thinks they're smarter than an expert old man was right. Miss him. Yeah, good point, Just Joe. Thank you. Plevin's shit-eating grin, bro. There it is. Oh my fucking god, man. I'm just in a silly mood today. All right, let's see what these
telling us she's innocent so they can answer them. If the evidence exists, to me, this should be the goal of both sides, if they truly believe in their case, is to show this next jury where Trooper Proctor was for those 15, 20 minutes. Everyone's saying where they are. When we come back, we're going to talk about the house that was never searched. Could there be a search of the house now? Could you find any forensic evidence? My goodness, in some of the cold cases we cover, they go to houses after 3 different people have lived in there. Would any evidence be left behind?
16, me too. Your house. Did an investigator or any forensics team ever come into your house, ever, to photograph your entire home?
No, I wish they had.
Did an investigator? Yeah, me too.
What a moment. Brian Albert, the owner of the home that was never searched. This, according to the defense, is the scene of the crime. Prosecutors obviously say nothing had anything to do with anything happening in the house. It all happened on the yard. It was basically a hit and run for the most part. So let's take a listen to more of the cross-examination of Brian Albert talking about what they didn't do and the status of the house.
Did an investigator or forensics team ever come into your house to search for physical evidence?
No.
Did an investigator or forensics team ever come into your house to search for trace evidence?
No.
Did an investigator or forensics team ever come into your house to take carpet samples, flooring samples from the basement, for instance?
No.
And to this day, you're aware that that's never happened?
Yes.
By the way, the 34 Fairview house had been in your family at that time in 2022 for 2 generations?
My parents built a house in the late 70s, 79 maybe.
So if your parents are 1 generation, you and your family are another generation, 2 generations.
Right.
Nearly, maybe actually a little more than 50 years, half a century.
That what?
It was the Albert home.
Yes.
The fact is, you listed that house for sale for the first time ever in November of 2022, correct?
That's the time we listed it, yes.
Just months after John O'Keefe was found on your lawn.
Objection.
Steve?
All right, the defense theory is clear that they believe some murder took place, a beating death of John O'Keefe down in the basement. The basement, according to the homeowners, had a water problem and they redid it before they sold it, the basement part. But Charles Middlestadt, this house has never been forensically
by water, they mean 3 liters of blood.
searched. Would it be worthwhile for the defense to hire some expert, go through it and see if you can find anything?
Well, I'm going to get on my soapbox for 20 seconds here. So, what we're talking about here is a lot of burden shifting. I mean, what the defense has done and what it should never have to do is, it should be able to dispute the accuracy and the reliability of the state's evidence. And that's what it's done. And it resulted in a hung jury. Now, what we're talking about and what we've been talking about mostly is what can the defense do to prove its case, to prove its theory? And, that is
to win. She wants to go free. She wants to go free.
I understand, but it is burden shifting. And the state has a problem. They have a disgraced cop who's been terminated. He's been impeached. And they're the ones that are have to explain this. But the fact of the matter is it's a botched investigation. There are some very odd circumstances surrounding the connectivity between all of the witnesses in this case and the occupants of that house and the lead investigator. And so it was incumbent upon the prosecution to foresee all of that and try to overcome all of that with some good evidence and some good explanations for all of those things. And they were either unable to do so or didn't think it was going to be important.
I think this gets us to another place, Peter Ellikin, and I'll just throw it to you. Do you think the defense is going to be happy with another hung jury? Does she want another 3 months? Does Alan Jackson want to move to Boston for another 3 months for another hung jury and then try the case again?
The last thing they want to do is go back to square one, go to the starting block and do an entire do-over of the thing all over again. Absolutely, they don't have. They would not want to do that.
Do you think they'll want to search the house?
Yes, but again, like I said, I'm a little pessimistic about that too. One of the things that really annoyed me in this case is when people would accuse the defense saying, "Oh, you guys are talking about he got beaten up in the house. Where's your evidence? Where's your proof? You got nothing." Of course, we don't have any. Of course, the defense.
There was no investigation.
Yeah, there was no investigation, and now that they've ripped up the floors and redid everything and all that, I don't know that anything is left there to get. And this is why I say that it's such an unfair thing.
As glad as I am to hear this shit on Court TV, fucking, finally, it's a little late. It's a little late to hear so-called experts saying the same shit that we've been saying this entire fucking time. Like, as much as I love it when I always talk about how much I love it when lawyers validate my shit that I say, where I'll log on to some LawTube channel and they'll say the same shit that I had just said. And I'm just like, yeah. I love that shit. It makes me feel all smart. But, this doesn't do that, because I'm like, well, what good does this fucking do? You know what I mean? It's, where were you with this shit a long time ago? All of this information was made available. Why weren't you talking about this before? It's not like it was rumors. You had the documentation available to you where you could have reviewed it and drew this conclusion. That's what I did. That's what everyone did. Little Irish Girl, thank you. We could have the murder of John O'Keefe on film at this point. This bullshit would continue. I totally agree. Ridiculous, man. Like I said, as much as it's nice to hear this attorney go, man, I'm pessimistic about that. Like, the guy saying what I said verbatim, like at least 4 months ago. I'm not sure that John will ever get justice because all of the physical evidence is gone. How many fucking times have you people heard me say that? And the longer they stall, the harder it's going to be to convict these people. The harder it's going to be to prove who actually killed John. And that's all they're doing.
Thing that perhaps if you have forensic people in there, could they find a spot of blood somewhere?
In cold cases, sometimes they go in and they find something. If you found John O'Keefe's blood in that house, it's game over. Your client walks.
And if you don't, then it's counted against you. Now you've assumed a burden that you shouldn't have to. And if you can't make your case, then it actually works against you. And so I don't think they should lift their finger like that. I think they should work with what they have.
Okay. Let me show you something else here, Rick.
He's not
here's
wrong.
Nicole Albert talking about. Now, remember those.
He's not wrong. And there's Microdots' footage there.
Wounds on the arm. One side saying it's the tail light that made all those cuts on John O'Keefe's arm. The defense very clear that it was Chloe the dog inside the home. Here's what we learned about Chloe the dog during the trial.
You testified that your German Shepherd, Chloe, was also at the house when you arrived home on January 29th, correct?
Yes.
She's a large German Shepherd.
Yep, about 70 pounds.
She's not great with strangers.
I wouldn't say that.
You wouldn't say that it's kind of a poorly worded question. Would you say that she's good with strangers?
I'd say she's fine with strangers.
Fine with strangers. Ms. Albert, Chloe has injured other humans, hasn't she?
Objection.
I'm going to allow that. In one incident in May of 22, when she got out and was fighting with another dog, the woman whose dog it was tried to break up the two dogs. And while she was trying to break up the two dogs, she got injured.
Ms. Albert, you don't have Chloe anymore, do you?
Nope.
In May of 2022, 4 months after Mr. O'Keefe's death, you got rid of your family dog of 6 years.
Objection.
Oh, is that true? Is that when you got rid of your dog? I did not get rid of my dog. I rehomed my dog.
Your dog is no longer in the Canton area, correct?
No, but I know where she is. She's in Vermont.
Now, that was really telling to me because that was really funny. The irony is that Court TV is going over it, where the first and only other place that I've ever heard the words used, rehomed, the word rehomed used to describe what the Alberts did to Chloe was exclusively from Jennifer Coffendorfer on this very panel that we're watching right now. Like on the panel of this very channel that we're watching right now. So I find that really, really ironic and interesting that word is stressed so much, and Twattendorfer was the only one using it. And if you remember, I was asking the question over and over again, like, how is it that Twattendorfer is the only person that happens to know what happened to Chloe? And we now know clearly that right there sealed it for me. When I first watched that testimony, I was like, these people are in direct contact with Jennifer Coffendorfer. I mean, 100%.
Rick Grundy, should the prosecution go find Chloe? Maybe get an expert to take a look at Chloe's teeth and then take a look at John O'Keefe's arms and show this jury that this wasn't a dog bite?
So I think the next thing that she said was that, and I've provided the information as to where Chloe is and offered Chloe up for whatever testing. And I know that there was a testing of the wound for dog DNA. So again, I think they are, you want to be careful as a prosecution not to spend all of your time and put your focus on chasing down the defense's theory. We spoke the first night, Vinny, after openings, and agreed upon that it was a very strong and effective defense opening statement. But that they may have pushed the envelope a little too far because they definitively said, we're going to prove to you that Karen Reed was set up. So Charles
They actually said the word framed.
shifting.
David said framed. David
Correct.
Gray said she was framed.
Yeah.
Correct. So there was burden shifting, but it was voluntarily. So where the range were pulled in on closing the loop on some of these things, I think that the defense thoroughly went through Proctor's phone and tried to place him at places and was unable to, or certainly unable to in a method that would fill in their theory of the case. And, I can't do it. The prosecution can't do it, but I'm relying on the media people. The first thing, it's best to have a roadmap to know where you're going. And the first thing I want to know is those people who were on the not guilty side, was it not guilty because
that's another thing. Like, and I feel like if Proctor's phone records would have said something, like the defense would have definitely presented that. They would have put him on the spot with that. They would have been like, we have your phone records right here. We have like your locations based on your phone records. Like, and you were not here at this time, blah, 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 blah. If they had those phone records, they would have used it with Proctor on the stand during cross-examination without a doubt in my mind.
We find that the defense didn't come through with this whole frame up thing, but the Commonwealth didn't prove their case. So I wanted, when I'm building this second case.
Oh, they had very public hearings. You're saying, or Bev didn't let it in, but they had very public hearings where Bev discussed what they were going to let in and what they weren't going to let in. So
that's the information that would be most helpful for me. If it comes back and they say, hey, look, we found this, these wounds, very troubling. Yeah. I got to do more there. Or tracking people. I got to do more there. But if it's
we have to leave it there, Rick. I always do this to
Rick.
It's always Rick. Rick gets it every time.
Rick gets it every time. Now, I'm going to go over one more thing here before we call it. A bunch of people have posted this. But I've had some of you guys asking to go over it, so I'm going to go over it. This is the enhanced 911 call. of Jennifer McCabe. So let's take a listen to that. Yeah. Subscribe to Valhalla Awaits. Valhalla Awaits. He panels a lot with Broken Baker. Make sure to sub to Broken Baker too if you guys aren't already. But this is a Valhalla Awaits video right here. Make sure to give it a like. Here's the link to that so you guys can. I call her Coffin Gagger. Thank you, Miss Jones. Appreciate you.
Yes, I need someone to 34-year-old get back to the man talked out in the smart. Yeah, I'm alright. Okay. Where's the blanket? I don't see blankets everywhere. Yes, I need
All right, hold on. All right, let me check microdots because someone's saying that microdots has clearer version of the call here. So I mean, I'm not seeing it. Kay Christine, thank you so much. Thank you, Will, for covering this. Massachusetts needs all the support right now, exposing these people and getting justice for the victims. Yeah, and thank you so much. That's pretty much why I'm doing this. I'm stuck on this. I'm fixated on this because I can't stand how the media is covering it right now. I mean, the overall goal would be to get the media to talk about what needs to be talked about, and what's clear is, I mean, a bigger story here is all of the exculpatory evidence against Karen Reed, that there is an innocent woman clearly being framed for a murder, and yet nobody is talking. Now, I understand if you don't have any evidence to indicate this, but there's so much evidence, so much. So, all right, let me try Aussie Insider. Aussie Insider is awesome too. Aussie Insider tags me a lot in stuff. So let me see. All right, so here's the Carrie Roberts call.
Hi, my name is Carrie. I'm calling because my friend's boyfriend did not come home last night. They were at Waterfalls, and now she is calling me hysterical because she doesn't know where he is. You didn't pick anybody up by the name of John O'Keefe, did you?
John O'Keefe?
Yeah, he's a Boston cop, and it would be on foot, but
No.
I think he probably got a ride and passed out at someone's house. I don't know, but
Yeah, but no, we didn't lock anybody up or anything like that. And where does he live?
he lives on Meadow, right off the Pleasant.
He lives on Meadow off of Pleasant. Okay, and where's the wife home? You said his girlfriend?
It's his girlfriend, yeah. They were out having drinks, and then she left and expected him to come home at some point, and he never did.
Yep.
And so I said to her, you know, my husband had been out with him earlier in the night, but then he came home, and he has custody of his niece and nephew because their parents passed away.
Okay.
And so she's home with the niece and nephew, and they're old enough to be home. It's just she's nervous because he never even called the niece.
Yeah.
So she's like, I feel like something happened, and I said, okay. Well, so he called the area hospital, nobody had him. I personally think someone probably picked him up and he passed out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle.
Did he
Welcome.
drive last night?
No.
No. Okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, again, it's more. It would be driven by you. She would have to, call in, come to the station, and talk to us. But I mean, as of right now, it's more. He just didn't come home last night. Is this common sometimes?
Yeah.
Happen with him?
No. That's why. That's because he didn't tell his niece. That's kind of why she's more freaking out. So I figured I called the area hospital. I said I would call Canton police just to make sure he didn't get picked up. But like I said, he's a Boston police officer. He knows a bunch of people. Anybody could have picked him up.
Yeah.
Freaking it out.
Okay.
Apparently they were having a blizzard party of some sort.
Yeah. No.
Don't know.
Now, I'm still hazy on Carrie Roberts' involvement in this cover-up, but
Unfortunately, I wasn't there. I was stuck here. But we didn't get any calls, anything like that. Nobody was arrested or anything like that.
Okay.
All righty.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right. No problem. Good luck.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
No, please, what's going on? What's your emergency?
Yes, I need someone to come to 34 Fairview Road in Canton, Mass. There's a man passed out in the snow.
You're in Canton? Hold on. I'm going to Canton Police Department. You connected to know it, okay?
Yeah, I don't know why I did that.
It's at the tower. Stay on the line.
I think he's dead. You gotta get here ASAP, okay?
All right, we're transcend line. We're transcend again.
Okay. I know.
okay. So she says, I think he's dead. Jesus Christ.
Clear the blankets. I don't see blankets, Harry.
911 emergency.
Yes, I need someone to come immediately to 34 Fairview Road, Canton, Mass.
What's going on?
There's a guy unresponsive in the snow.
In the snow at 34?
He passed out, yes, 34, the Albert resident. Yes, I just pulled up.
There's a guy. He's passed out. First, he said he was dead. Now he's passed out. First, she said he was passed out. Then she said he was dead. And then she said he was passed out again.
Okay, 34 Fairview?
34 Fairview, Canton, Mass. Yes.
911 is on your where's your emergency? Hello?
Yes, I'm sorry. Can you come to 34 Fairview Road in Canton?
34 Fairview?
Yes, there's a man unresponsive in the snow.
Okay. Is he blue at all?
You've got to get here, okay?
Okay. What's going on? Is he face down?
We just flipped him over.
Okay.
Okay.
And who's that in the
So
back?
there's where she says that they flipped him over. So he was on his stomach initially, according to her.
Is that someone related?
Okay, that's his girlfriend. His name is John O'Keefe.
Okay, how old is he?
John is 46 years old.
46. How long has he been outside?
I don't know.
See, I think this is weird. You notice how she keeps whispering? Like all of a sudden she's on the down low, Like she's talking and she's being very clear, and then she'll start talking like this. Like, what's the big secret? I don't get what the secret is here. I don't understand. It's very weird. Why doesn't she want the other people to hear what she's saying to 911?
I don't know. He got out of the car and
is he breathing?
A couple of hours. Is he Carrie? Is he? I don't.
Is he breathing?
A couple of hours. Is he? I don't know. He got out of the car and
is he breathing?
A couple of hours. Is he? I don't know. He got out of the car and
is he breathing?
A couple of hours. Is he Carrie? Is he? I don't.
Okay. She said he got out of the car and then something a couple of hours. Just really bizarre. He got out of the car. So that means that you saw him get out of the car. I mean, I would take that as she saw him get out of Karen's car when they pulled up initially. That's what that would indicate to me. So either she witnessed Karen hit him, which she claims that she didn't, or he just went into the house and she's just leaving that part out.
I don't know if he's breathing. There are two women trying to do his body heat, and they're hysterical.
Okay, can you just try to ask him? I know it's tough, but we already have the fire department going. They just got to know if he's breathing.
Is he breathing, you guys? No. It doesn't seem to be breathing.
Okay, do they know how to do CPR? Do they want to attempt CPR?
You guys, Carrie, can you guys do CPR? No, I guess he's gone.
Okay, they don't feel comfortable doing so?
No, I think he's passed away.
Okay. All right, we got the fire
Wow,
department.
she's really reiterating that. And I know that on the stand, if he would have asked her, then I mean, you're sitting here and you're saying, I think he's passed away. You seem to know that he was dead, and you're being very quiet and secretive about this. Why? And I know that she was on the stand. We've already watched her. We've watched breakdowns of her being on the stand. And what she would do is just play that off like they were already in a panic, and then she's going to turn to the jury and go, they were already panicking enough, and I didn't feel the need to upset them more by the idea of John being dead because I'm also a realist. Okay, well, but how do you know? You never even got out of the car. Like, how do you know he's dead? How are you not thinking like on the point? Like, how are you not thinking from the perspective of somebody who doesn't know what's going on, and the guy that you know and hang out with and have play dates with each other's kids? Why aren't you number 2 priority besides his girlfriend saying, hey, there's something wrong here? Like, we need help. He's a cop and we need help. He's a cop and he needs help. Like, you don't even want to think about him being dead. Why is her mind going to him being dead? She doesn't know how long he's been out there, but she already said that he's been out there a couple of hours. How would she know that? Because that's really what sticks out to me. Somehow she knows that he got out of the car and that it was a couple of hours ago. How does she know that?
Coming in the police department on the way. If everyone's declining CPR, then I'll hang up with you, and if anything changes, you can give us a call back. Where are you guys outside?
Oh, right out front. I know. I'm on the phone with.
Great point, Trevor Maverick. Thank you so much. And he wasn't even dead yet at that point. Excellent point. Excellent point. Because what happens is if you tell the 911 operator and you convince the 911 operator that he's dead, because right now she's struggling with, I think he's dead, but if I say for sure that he's dead, blah, 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 it's going to look weird and blah, blah, blah. But she knows that she doesn't want him to wake up. That's what that sounds like to me. She does not want him to wake up and start pointing fingers at people and say, this is actually what happened. So she knows that by not saying that he's a police officer, she knows by leaving out the fact that he's a police officer, that there's not going to be as much of a sense of urgency as there would be if they knew that he was a police officer. Because if he was a police officer, then every cop and their mother would be hauling ass to this place to find out what's going on and to see how they can help. She knows this. She absolutely knows this. How many cops are in her family? She knows this. So there's this, there's that, right? But also, she knows that if the idea is planted in this dispatcher's head that he's dead, then again, there's not going to be as much of a sense of urgency. At least she doesn't think so. Because that's the only logical reason why I would think that she would say, repeat, I think he's dead. I think he's passed on. And do it so quietly. It's very suspicious. This is the most suspicious of 911 calls I've ever heard. But here she is saying, I think he's dead. Why wouldn't she want this sense of urgency coming from 911 dispatch? Why wouldn't she direct this situation to be getting him the quickest response possible to get him the help that he needs? Because she doesn't know what happened to him. But here she is thinking that she knows what happened to him, because if she Googled how long to die in the cold at 2:27 a.m., a couple of hours go by, she's still not 100% sure that he's dead. She just assumed that he is because she probably saw the loss of blood on the basement floor and that he was unresponsive. And so, okay, well, we could say that he got hit by a snowplow. And then Karen says, did I hit him? Did I hit him? Then she gets to say, oh, well, she thinks that she hit him. Right there. There you go. That's our fall guy. The girlfriend. And all we got to do is just convince her that she hit him. She'll plead guilty, case closed. Nobody asks any questions. Didn't work out that way, though, did it? But she was trying to burn time. That's what I'm getting out of this.
Oh, with the ambulance. I know, honey. I know.
He's not
This, look, Carrie, you got to get off him, honey. Carrie, you got to get off of him. This is a scene.
Do you know if there was any alcohol or drugs involved?
They had been out.
They've been out drinking.
Yes, but I'm talking hours ago, maybe. And I think I don't know how long he's been in the snow.
Okay. Is there any bleeding or anything? Maybe hit his head out?
Yes, possibly. There seems to be bleeding in the face.
Okay, bleeding from the face. All right.
Yes.
And how big's the pool of blood, if there is any?
Something's coming out of his nose, and one of the women is doing CPR.
Okay, one of the women is doing CPR?
Yes, they're both working on him.
All right, if she's doing CPR, just just give us a call back if he becomes responsive, all right? But we're on the way.
Okay, thank you.
This is fucked up.
What?
A lot of people have noted that Jen
That's
McCabe
fucking crazy.
told
I'm going to go over that again another time. Probably the next time I go live, I'm going to discuss that a little bit more. I think I'm going to spend a little bit more time on that. Spend a little bit more time on Jen McCabe, because I think that she is the most telling out of everyone in this entire situation. Her lies are the most telling. Her behavior is the most telling out of everyone. I truly do believe that. But we have hit that 3-hour mark. I think Turtle Boy's going live. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I don't like to go over 3 hours if I can help it. But sometimes I just go on and on and on and on. And if I get a deep dive into this 911 stuff, we'll be here for at least another hour. So, but I promise we'll spend a little bit more time talking about that. Xander Ryan, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hypothesis: we haven't heard from any jury yet because the FBI contacted them immediately. That's possible. That's possible. But I don't know. Oh, you guys are the best, man. I really appreciate you guys. Make sure, guys, to hit the like for me. Press that button if you guys like the stream, and make sure to subscribe if you're not already. And again, I appreciate all the new subscribers. I think I just recently hit 36,000. That's crazy. Fucking mind-blowing, really, if I'm being totally honest. It's wild. But please hit the like. I really appreciate it. And thanks, guys, for all of the support. You guys are really, really amazing. I'm going to try to go live again tomorrow if I can. I don't know if I'll go live again tomorrow. I actually have some stuff to do, some productive stuff to do. it's going to be hard enough to get motivated to do that. So, and then if I decide to go live, I'll use it as an excuse to derail my motivation to do that productive thing, and be like, going live's productive, when really it's just fun. And I would totally use it as an excuse to put off what I really need to do. But anyways, guys, you guys are awesome. Thanks for joining me. I do love you guys very, very much, and we will do this again very soon, my friends.